Good evening, everyone. Oh, I like that. It sounds like I'm in school. Thank you so much for being here this evening. The time is a little after 5. We're a little bit late with our presentations, but we're going to kick this off. I have 2, and then we'll follow with my colleagues. So my first presentation is to recognize our breast cancer survivors. Nationally, we recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the month of October. And Homestead is a community that cares, and we care about all causes in the community, but breast cancer is one that has really impacted a lot of us on council, either directly or indirectly. So tonight, I have some survivors who bravely battled breast cancer, and they survived. So they are here this evening. I would like for them to please stand. Please stand. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. And please come as you're called. This Breast Cancer Survivor Award, this certificate acknowledges Stephanie Mitchell and celebrates her victory over breast cancer for 9 years. Stephanie? Rhonda Smith is celebrating a victory of breast cancer for over 9 years. Miss Verna Graham, celebrating her victory of breast cancer for over 25 years. Miss Niecy Sneed, celebrating a victory for over 13 years. He's not here. Miss Shirley Carger, celebrating her victory of over 17 years. Miss Nancy Berkey, celebrating her victory of over 13 years. Miss Gwendolyn Terry Lee, celebrating a victory of 10 years. Miss Sheila Howard Johnson, celebrating a victory of 5 years. Miss Devon Waters Davis, celebrating a victory of 1 year. Miss Tashara Mitchell, celebrating a victory of 5.5 years. And Miss Joanne Hamilton, celebrating a victory of 14 years. If I can have our Senator Annie Terry Flores and my colleague Councilman Roth, who has been championing breast cancer awareness for so many years with his Tough Enough to Wear Pink campaign. Every Friday you'll see a ton of us throughout the community wearing pink, and this was led by the efforts of my colleague, Councilman Larry Roth. Thank you so much for your advocacy for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Let's give them another round of applause. Okay, we need to get an iPhone.
Okay, sure.
Just wait, we have to take a photo. Got it? 12:21. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If I can have the Education Committee to please join me for this presentation.
17 years.
As the liaison from council to the Education Committee, I'm proud to work with such dedicated members of our community, and their approach is very intentional as far as how they're going to support our local schools. And what they created was the Local Educator Mini Grant. And that grant, what it does is it supports creativity, ingenuity, and innovation in the classroom. And there are several teachers who applied for this grant, and some of them are here tonight, and they're going to be awarded funds to help spur and effectuate the creativity in the classroom. And I'm going to call up our chair of the Education Committee, Ms. Kim Berkey, who's going to facilitate the distribution of the awards to our local educators.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. At this time, we'd like to recognize the teachers. Judith Nunez, EPA Panthers Weather Out the Weather Project, Everglades Preparatory.
Tell her congratulations when you see her.
Susan Julovich, Kids Corn Poppers Project, Gateway Environmental K-8 Learning Center. Penelope Gonzalez, Hands Across the Community Project, Neva King Cooper Educational Center. Natalie Nealing, Seeds Are All Around Us, Neva King Cooper Educational Center. Jessica Carcerano Wheeler, Jellyfish and Gene Splicing, Everglades Preparatory Academy. Armando Delgado, A Different Perspective Project, Somerset Academy Charter, Middle, and High. Leslie Rubio, STEM It Up, The Future Is Here Project, Somerset City Arts Conservatory. Carolyn McKechnie, Discerning Disorder, Homestead Senior High School. And Angela Compton, Cell Type Inquiry Driven Investigations Project, Everglades Preparatory Academy.
Congratulations again. Be sure to take pictures, send them to us so that we can share them in our social media outlets to see the community, exactly the footprint and the impact that the Education Committee is having, not only in Homestead, but in your classrooms. All the best to you and your students. Okay? Quick picture. Come a little closer. Wait. That's so pretty. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call up Councilman John Burgess for recognition of Ken Conkle, honorary membership in the Florida Municipal Electric Agency, FMEA. Councilman, take it away.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. It's both an honor and a privilege for me tonight to give a long, dedicated employee of the City of Homestead an award tonight. Mr. Ken Conkle retired several months back. For those of you that don't know Ken, he worked for the city for about 19 years, 17 years. Started out at the plant, worked his way up as to the assistant director, and was the director for a while there while we were in search of a director. So he really was our director for many years until Barbara Quinones came along. And through his hard work and dedication, the FMEA, which is a state board of Municipal Electrical Association, has given Ken honorary membership into their association for the rest of his time here on this great earth that we all live on. And I'll just give you a couple things about Ken. They were pleased to nominate Kenneth Conkle for honorary membership in the association. This nomination is submitted in accordance with the association's bylaws and is because Mr. Conkle has dedicated 45 years of service to the electric utility industry and almost 30 years in the public power, with the last 16, 17 here at the City of Homestead and a member of the FMEA. The membership seems to be a fitting recognition for both Ken and the association, as he gave many hours and days and time to the association with all the knowledge that he had brought to it and that he had gathered over his 45 years. We all know that he joined, as I said, as a supervisor of the plant at the Gordon W. Ivy Power Plant and worked his way up to the assistant director/director for many years. And in April, he was happy and glad the day he said, "I'm out of here." But in April of 2016, he retired and has been doing many trips around the country since then with him and his wife, Kathy, who I'm missing tonight. I'd rather talk to her sometimes than you, but that's the way it is. But anyway, we appreciate all the hard work that you've done. You brought many initiatives to the city and to the organization of FMEA throughout your time, and we're always there for them to lean on and give them guidance when they needed it or another opinion to help them with as they moved forward to make public power a better thing for all of us. And I'll read from the certificate of recognition presented to Kenneth Conklin, recognition of his honorary membership in the Florida Municipal Electric Association. The City of Homestead applauds you for your extraordinary contributions you have made in the over 45 years of dedicated service to the electric utility industry. We appreciate all your efforts and accomplishments and all that you have done for the citizens of Homestead and the FMEA Association. And that's from the mayor, the vice mayor, and the rest of council. And Ken, we certainly do appreciate all that you did for us and all your hard work and dedication. I know it's not easy over there at the power plant, because when the power goes out, you're nobody's friend. Or if it gets turned off, it's a tough job over there, but we certainly do appreciate all that you've done for us and your hard work and dedication, not just for us, but for the state also, because the FMEA makes Homestead Power a stronger utility. So thank you.
Thank you.
And from FMEA, they've awarded the Florida Municipal Electric Association awards honorary membership to Ken Conkle, Homestead Public Services, in recognition of his decades of dedicated service to the public power with all benefits accorded in the association's bylaws. From Barry Moline, their executive director. So I know he wanted to be here tonight, but he's got other things and a long way from here, but I know that he would be here to echo everything that I've said and tell you thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I spent about a third of my career here, and I've got to say it was the hardest place to work, but it was also very rewarding. And the utility has a lot of good people, a lot of talent, and the city as a whole is really moving forward. It's changed a lot in the 17 years that I've worked here. And I'd just like to thank Mayor and Council, Barry Moline, the executive director, and the rest of the board. And I need to finish off by saying hello to Maria, Santiago, Haley, and Angel.
Thank you very much. Ken, congratulations. I hope continued fun on your retirement. I know that you guys have a lot of things planned, so thank you, sir, for everything you've done for us.
Thanks.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
At this time, I'd like to call up Councilman Jimmy Williams for the recognition of Pastor in the Spotlight, Pastor Clifford McKinney.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. This is one of the wonderful ways we're able to highlight those magnificent persons that are not recognized on our normal everyday thing that we do, but has so much contribution that they do in the community. And so it gives me extreme delight to present Pastor Clifford McKinney, who is the senior pastor and teacher at Greater New Mount Zion African Methodist Episcopal Church on 4th Street. Come up, Clifford. Pastor McKinney, my colleague in ministry, and he has done a wonderful job where he is. And so we've tried to bring some encouragement from our level of government to continue to encourage our nonprofits and churches in our community that are the lifeline at times of our community. And so we want to honor you tonight. I think, Selena, we have a very special gift that we'd like to memorialize to you. Pastor Clifford McKinney, in recognition of the important ministry you have provided our community. Councilor Jimmy L. Williams III, September 21st, 2016. And it is a journal with a pen, and it is to write those special moments and times that you have with God and those special times you have with the members of your church, to record that so you can always look back over encouragement. And so we present this to you. And any members of the church here with you? Will they stand? All right. Amen. They come out to support their pastor. Pastor, you have a few words you'd like to say? And then we'll invite the members to come up and take a picture. Okay.
I'm considered a neophyte here in the community. I've been here 2 years and 2 months. But the whole part of the second year I have been I was without voice because of surgery. And most of you have probably seen me walking the streets of Homestead passing out brochures. We love to teach the children in the community, teach them how to play chess, because this has been proven in so many school systems around the United States that chess will teach children critical thinking and logical reasoning. So I'm so proud and honored to be with you tonight. God bless each and every one of you and your families.
Thank you so much. Pastor, and the members will come. We'll get a picture. I know some of these people. I think I spent 5 years over there. We have a new photographer. I don't know. Where is she? There she is in the back. Come on this way. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot my state senator. No. Amen. Yeah.
I visited his church on Sunday.
You did?
Yes.
You went to his church?
I did. I went to his church on Sunday.
Oh. All right. This is a special lady. I'm glad she was at your church. All right.
Thank you, Councilman Williams, for that presentation, and congratulations, Pastor Clifford McKinney and those who are here from your church. That concludes our presentation ceremony. I would just like to again recognize our Senator, Aniteri Flores, who represents us in Tallahassee. It's always great when we have our colleagues on the state level to come down and spend time with us, and I think Aniteri has a house in Homestead because she's always here, and that is a testament to her support of the Homestead community, ensuring that she is visible and accessible to us and our constituents in Homestead. Thank you again. You could be 1,000 places right now, I imagine, but you're here, and I thank you. Okay, that is it. We will adjourn now, and then we'll begin our council meeting at 6 o'clock. Okay? If I can have my survivors to come up to take one more picture, please. You better not. Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like to call this Wednesday, October 26, 2016, council meeting to order at 6 p.m. This evening, we will have the invocation by Pastor Michael Stiles, pastor of St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Larry Roth and the Police Explorers. Would you please stand?
To this great council, good afternoon. Let us bow our heads. Dear wise and loving Father, first, let me thank you on behalf of all of us who gather here today. Thank you for many of your abundant blessings. Thank you for life in itself, for the measure of health that's needed to fulfill our callings, for the substance and for the friendship. Thank you for the ability to be able to involved in the use of workfulness and to be honored to bear the responsibilities that we have at hand. Thank you for being with us and having the ability to have the freedom to embrace you and the freedom to reject you. Thank you for your love in us, even so, from your abundantness and your gracious nature. In the scriptures, you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities sent over them to establish the wellness of your prayer. So we pray for our mayor and the various levels of our city officials, and to be able to assemble together to make wise counsel, wisdom to govern in the midst and the conflict of interest in the interest of our times, a sense of welfare and trust and true to the people, to kneel the thirst of justice and righteousness, to be able to come together in the uplifting and the good and fitting way to be able to guide us and lead us, the ability to work together in harmony, even when there is an honest of just disagreement. Personally, peace in their lives and joy in their tasks. I pray for the agenda that is set before them on today. Please give an assurance of what will be pleasing to you and will benefit those who live and work in the surrounding areas of this beloved city of Homestead. It is in this we ask for your blessings. In your name we pray. Amen.
Honor guard. Hope. Right. Face. Praise and arms.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Left. Face. Forward. March.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Stiles, for the invocation, and thank you, Councilman Larry Roth, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Shelley? Councilman Burgess? Councilman Roth? Councilman Williams? Councilman Maldonado? Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Here.
Mayor Porter?
Are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals? Nope. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Tab 12. Staff report. Oh. Okay. Okay, let me get your mic.
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to be either cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda package on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization, and further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications they've had concerning any of the following quasi-items.
I have the 12, 13, and 14.
12, 13, 14.
12, 13, and 14. Not for me. You
Don't talk to me either.
So, hearing nothing further on, at this time, the clerk will swear any persons who wish to testify on the following quasi-judicial items.
I, please state your name, hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. You may be seated. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, tabs 12, 13, and 14 all pertain to the same project. We could collectively, I can introduce those, collectively have a public hearing and discussion, and then take a separate vote on each item, starting with tab 12 in order.
It's okay with me. Is it okay with the rest of the council to take them collectively? Okay.
Tab 12 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a special exception requested by 33030 Realty Partners, LLC, to permit a commercial retail use exceeding 20,000 square feet of usable floor area on an approximately 5.7 acre parcel of property located on Campbell Drive between Northeast 13th Avenue and Northeast 15th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. Tab 13 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval requested by 33030 Realty Partners for an approximately 46,000 square foot multi-tenant commercial retail shopping center on an approximately 5.7 acre parcel of property located on Campbell Drive between Northeast 13th and 15th Avenues, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And tab 14 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request by 33030 Realty Partners for tentative plat approval for an approximately 46,000 square foot multi-tenant commercial retail shopping center on approximately 4.7 acres located on Campbell Drive between 13th and 15th Avenues, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Any questions from council? Questions? I will open the public. Who had a question? Yeah.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This would be to our staff, I guess, if that's how you'd like to open it up, or do you want to do any question? When this was before us in June, we had a lot of questions as to about their traffic and their exit and entrance and all that. Did the applicant offer any changes to us at our request from June till now?
No, the applicant had provided an analysis of the intersection in question, the exit. The changes to that intersection were to remove the palm trees in the median, I believe, back a certain amount, 565 feet. Other than that, no other alternatives were explored.
Okay. In your expert opinion, is this the only way that this exit could be built on this property, or are there other ways that it could be built? Do you think, as an engineer and as that, are there different approaches to it?
There would be different ways to put an intersection or a driveway in. I mean, you could do a signal, you could do you could prohibit the left turn, you could split the driveways and do two different driveways. So I don't believe this is the only way to enter and exit the site.
Okay, but none of that was discussed or brought forward to you and staff?
No, sir, no other alternatives were presented.
Okay. So the only thing they're proposing is for us to remove trees out of our median to help their project?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'll wait until later on the rest. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
It's not your time yet, no. Any other questions from council? No? Sir?
Vice Mayor, members of the council, Dick Coker. I'm an attorney representing 3330 Realty Partners. I was not here at the last meeting, although I did read the minutes. And I have a different take, really, on what occurred at the last meeting and what the developer has done since that last meeting. We hired a traffic engineer, Kimley Horn, who analyzed the situation, because the way we understood the situation that was being discussed is there were concerns about the safety, basically, of the left turn out on the main entrance of the shopping center on Campbell Drive. That was the issue. It wasn't that we were asked to come up with alternatives. It was that you all, or some of you, were concerned about the safety of that turning movement, and that's why we hired a traffic engineer to look at that particular issue. And by the way, just to, I guess, emphasize the point, at the last meeting in which there was a hearing, the staff had recommended approval, recognized that this was a normal condition, that this was a safe turning movement, and was recommending the approval of the special exception, the site plan, and the tentative plat. And it was issues raised by the council at the time that caused this to be tabled and then reanalyzed by the applicant. So Kimley Horn is a well-respected traffic engineering and civil engineering company. They looked at whether or not any changes at all to the traffic pattern there would be helpful to the project and also to the public. And it wasn't that they ignored any alternatives. They evaluated them in their analysis in their report. And it's in their report. Specifically, if you eliminated the left turn out, then you forced a U-turn. And that is a dangerous condition on that road for the reasons set forth in the Kimley Horn report. And so the safest condition, traffic engineers concluded, was the condition that was proposed, and in order to meet all the criteria in the DOT handbook, some of the trees should be removed to comply with the site distance requirements for the turning movements. So that is what has occurred. It's not that we ignored, or the developer ignored, looking at alternatives, that all the alternatives were properly reviewed by professionals and determined to be not as safe and not as good, not only for the project, but for the public as the condition that was proposed. And what we'd like to do at this time is bring up the traffic engineer, Ian Reardon of Kimley Horn, have him discuss his report with you and answer any questions you may have. If I may, Mr. Reardon. First, if you could just give us your professional background.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me up here today. My name is Ian Reardon. I'm with Kimley Horn and Associates.
Yeah. Let me just stop you for a second, Councilman Burgess.
Mr. Coker, I know that you said that staff made a recommendation, and your assumption, if I took it correctly, was that that's what we have to follow.
No.
Well, that's how it came across to me. I'm here tonight as a citizen and a council person, and I look at their recommendation, and I take a yes or a no. I don't have to follow their direction every time they come and give us one. Nobody up here does. And you, if I misconstrued your comments, and please tell me, but that's how I took it, is that I have to follow what they said.
What you do as a council person, as you know, is you listen to the recommendations of the public and of your professionals and of the professionals of the applicant, and you evaluate the information and the evidence before you, and
I
you
do
make
not
a
have to
decision.
follow the recommendations of
And
anybody.
you evaluate and you make a decision based upon
I just wanted to make
your
sure that was
analysis.
clear. Thank you.
May continue.
Great. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Ian Reardon. I'm with Kimley Horn Associates. I'm a professional engineer. I've been with Kimley Horn for about 12 years now, professionally licensed for just over 7 years now. Excuse me. My particular specialty is I do work in traffic operations. I do have a contract with FDOT where I do look at traffic operations throughout District 6, including multiple intersections here in Homestead. We did look at some of the comments that were made at the City Council meeting the last time we were through here. We did try to address what we saw as far as concerns raised a little bit earlier about us not offering any alternatives. What we did is we did take a look at the alternatives brought up at council meeting, and we looked at what would happen to the traffic if we went along with those recommendations to try to make a recommendation one way or the other on what that would do. So I think the two things that were brought up earlier was first, a traffic signal is something that we've talked about on our end, in that a traffic signal would actually be great for the site because people love traffic signals, but there are certain requirements that you have to meet in order to get a traffic signal at an intersection. Specifically, it's the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the MUTCD. There are 9 warrants that are listed in that document that you don't have to meet all of them. There's certain situations for all of them. But specifically for our site, we looked at 2 of them. There's an 8-hour warrant and a 4-hour warrant. And you have to have a certain amount of turns into your site or out of your site in conjunction with a certain volume on the main street to make sure that the traffic signal isn't going to create any additional problems. Because if you just put in a traffic signal everywhere, you start creating congestion issues, as well as you start introducing more stop conditions where you can introduce more accidents, such as rear ends, where people start getting rear ends at these traffic lights as they turn red. So you just don't want to put them in everywhere. So when we looked at the traffic signal warrants, we noted that we could probably meet them for about 1 or 2 hours based on the information we had, but we couldn't meet them for all 4 or all 8 of those hours based on the information we had now. Now, when the site comes online and we actually know the specific tenants that are in there and we can start to count the traffic that's actually there, then we can make a better determination based on these requirements on if you can actually put a traffic signal in there. Now, the county, since it's a county road, they will look at this warrant and make sure that we meet all the requirements before they make that okay on whether we can put one in. I guess the second alternative that we were looking at here is the restriction of the left turns out of the site. I guess recommendation at the last council meeting was that you would restrict the left turn out of the site onto Campbell Drive, and you'd make them make a right turn onto Campbell Drive to the east and make a U-turn. So the report that we put together, what we did was we actually analyzed 2 intersections. We analyzed 15th Avenue to the east and 12th Avenue to the west. Those are the next full median openings that you'd be allowed to make a U-turn at. And we used a program called AutoTurn, which takes a typical vehicle and it marks off the path. It actually puts lines down for the outside or in the inside of your vehicle, your tires, where they would go. And you can actually see how a vehicle would make their turn. And what we found out is because the laneage on Campbell Drive is so tight, you actually cannot make a full U-turn within the lanes of traffic that you have there today. So if you're to the east over 15th Avenue, what you'd actually have to do is when you make a U-turn, you'd have to drive through the crosswalk and start approaching on the southbound stop bar for 15th Avenue before you get back onto Campbell Drive. And I've actually gone out there myself and made the turn in my car just to make sure that it wasn't the computer program being too conservative. Like, can I make it in my car? I have a 4-door full-size sedan. It's not a big SUV, and I can't make that turn myself on that street. I had to go through the crosswalk and get back onto Campbell Drive. Now, so that would be if someone exiting the site. If they take make a right turn and go eastbound on Campbell to 15th, make a U-turn to then head westbound. The next thing we looked at is, well, what happens if you were to eliminate the westbound left turn into the site? If you made them go past the site and also make a U-turn. So we brought them down to 12th Avenue, had them make the U-turn. We looked at that as well. Again, I drove that one myself. And you can't make that turn in a typical car to make the U-turn. When I tried to do it myself, I actually had to make a 3-point turn. I had to back up a little bit and come back out, or else I would have driven up onto the sidewalk. So that's why we didn't recommend going with the restriction of the left turn out, because if you make drivers make those U-turns, you couldn't safely make those onto Campbell Drive without either encroaching on approaching traffic or pedestrians or possibly stopping traffic on Campbell Drive. Now, I guess the comment we made earlier about the trees in the median, and the only recommendation we're making is to eliminate the trees. And what we were looking at here is that FDOT has certain requirements based on site distance to make sure you can get a full view of vehicles approaching so you can safely make that turn. You want to make sure that you don't have a car hidden behind some trees, behind some bushes. When you start to make your left, all of a sudden they can't stop in time and they hit you. And so we saw that there was a couple of trees to the east that would be in your line of sight at the far end of your site. And so it would be our recommendation to remove those just to make sure that since safety was a concern, we addressed that and we looked at what would happen. Now, I guess for crashes, there was an intersection specifically brought up at the last meeting, which was Campbell Drive at the racetrack gas station, which is about 162nd Avenue. What we did is there's a program that UF keeps that you can actually pull up crash history for historical data, and actually has police reports in there, so you can pull them up and review them. And so we pulled the crash data for that intersection there. And what we found was that at the racetrack intersection, there was a total of 16 crashes, but not all in a 5-year period that were recorded in the system. And that when we reviewed those, of those 16, only 4 of them were an angle type crash or left turn crash. The rest of them were other types like a rear end or a side swipe that wouldn't be caught in those people crossing across the lanes of traffic. And so that averaged out for the 5-year period to less than 1 per year. And so the other thing we did was we noticed that the traffic was actually heavier over towards the east end there, so we looked at something closer to our site where traffic was actually a little bit less along Camel Drive. And so we looked at was 14th Avenue. That's just west of our site by about 200 feet. And so we looked at that intersection because they'd be making the same movement. They actually have to make a southbound left turn out onto Camel Drive with the same exact conditions we have where they're crossing across that same median. And what we found is that there was a total of 5 crashes recorded over that 5-year period, which and of those 5, only 3 of them were angle type or left turn type. There's 2 angle crashes and 1 left turn. The other one was a rear end crash, and there was one where it was just designated as other. It didn't specifically tie it to a certain crash type. Again, that's less than 1 per year. It wasn't a trend we were seeing. Typically, when we're trying to look for trends, we're looking at 4 or 5 crashes per year. Then you're trying to identify a trend. And again, less than 1 per year. We didn't see a trend there. And I guess the one other thing I can just see from being out there, I did make that southbound left turn lane, or southbound left turn from 14th Avenue onto Campbell Drive. I made it twice. I tried it once to be able to make the left turn in one movement where I'm crossing all lanes of traffic and getting onto Campbell Drive to go eastbound. Because you're a little bit closer to the signal over there at 12th Avenue, when the light turned red over there, it created a gap of traffic for me. I was able to get out. I didn't have any issues. I was able to see vehicles. I made it out fine. So I did it again just to make sure. Again, I was doing this during the peak hour to make sure I was getting the right traffic flow. And when I did the next one, I actually stopped in the middle to make sure my car could fit. It did, and I was able to make the turn out there. What I didn't like about that turn is then I'm looking into my side view mirror, and I just have a little bit less field of vision to be able to see the cars that are oncoming for me to make sure I was able to make that move safely, but I was able to make it, and I made it out there without any issues.
Okay. Councilman Williams. Yeah, I'm going in order.
Can I digress to my colleague here and then come back at me?
Well, it's John, then
John.
Larry, you ready?
Yeah. This is, I like the project, but the traffic has me a little concerned. And you just talked about crash stats. And I reached out to the police department to get some stats on crashes. And we looked at the racetrack venue. And in a 2-year period, not a 5-year period, in a 2-year period, there were 21 crashes there coming out of the racetrack. Coming out of the 2000 building that's on Northeast 8th Street. It's a horseshoe-type shopping center. They have 2 ins and 2 outs there. There's only been 4 accidents in 2 years. And at the Publix, at the south side, where the traffic exits the Publix parking lot to head east on Campbell, in 2 years, there's been 27 crashes. What I brought up last month, or the last time they were in front of us, I think back in June, was there has to be a safer alternative to exiting the property and heading westbound. None was brought forward. No changes were made. And public safety is a very important issue to me. When I hear that 21 crashes occurred at the racetrack in a 2-year period, that concerns me. I don't know if anybody has died there as a result of an accident in front of the racetrack. There has to be an alternative to exiting that property and heading west. What you're asking for traffic to do is create a in and out, in and out, in and out on Campbell Drive. I drive Campbell Drive a minimum of 3 times a day passing that property. And if we can solve this one problem, I truly think that you will have a successful shopping center there, and the traffic won't be a problem now or in the future. But it has to be designed properly. I'm kind of shocked that there's no other plan in front of us for traffic, for the way people enter and exit this property. I mean, there's palm trees in that median strip. Could that whole median strip be eliminated as a safety issue for people entering that property? Maybe so. It's the same exact way in front of the 2000 block building where there's no median there. And there's plenty of space for them to stack as they come across a 2-lane highway, stack to head west. And there's an easy access for them to come from the east and get across. So that's my biggest thing with the traffic part of it. Listen, I want to see it come. I want to see the jobs come to the city, but it's a matter of safety, and it's a matter of convenience for people traveling up and down Campbell Drive is where I think we're held up right now.
May I, just a second?
Let's organize this. I have several of my colleagues that would like to speak.
We were just kind of, we weren't finished with the
Sir,
presentation.
I have the floor right now. I'm going to organize this, if you allow me to finish. Several of my colleagues have asked to speak, so if you can answer their questions specifically without going into a long diatribe so that I can get to everyone. So if you can address his concern so that I can go in an orderly manner. Thank you.
Councilman, Mr. Reardon looked at that specific issue, and he'll address it right now. The specific issue that you raised about the stacking and the alternatives. Go ahead.
So we did look at that. I had 2 concerns was looking at that. One is the spacing to Northeast 14th Avenue. I think we're about 200 feet from there. If you were to eliminate the entire median, you actually get yourself into a situation where you could have opposing traffic, which is someone making a southbound left turn off of 14th Avenue to want to go east on Campbell, and the same time someone want to make a northbound left turn out of the project onto Campbell to go westbound, and they're both trying to stack at the same spot at the same time. And so you end up with that conflict there where they could be facing head-on with each other if you were to eliminate that entire median.
So you keep a portion of the median there as a safety mechanism so that you don't have intersecting traffic at Northeast 14th and the traffic exiting left to the west out of the shopping center. You have to keep, so what you're saying is you got to keep that median strip in place partially so that you don't have that head-on situation.
And the other issue we saw when we did look at that is that, part of the report here, when we had make the recommendation of you need to remove certain trees in certain areas to make sure you have a clear line of sight. If you have too short of an area, we're trying to stack a car, you get in a situation where that vehicle is making northbound left and stops in the middle. Now the person making a westbound left into the site, they're looking through a car that stopped in front of them, and they can no longer see the traffic coming eastbound on Campbell Drive.
You finished,
I'll reserve.
Okay. Councilman Burgess.
Thank you. You answered one of the questions that I had written down prior to this, because without a tenant occupying the space, how do you come up with an actual traffic trips in and out of the property count? And you said that, we may have to readjust. So in reality, are you telling me the numbers that you're giving me tonight aren't correct?
What I'm telling you is that in the industry, what we do when you have a site which you can't tell how many trips are coming out of because it is vacant at the time, we use a manual by the Institute of Traffic Engineers. It's called Trip Generation, and they're actually up to, I think it's the 9th generation at this point, the 9th edition. And what they do is they have historical studies in which they go out and they actually look at multiple sites and they record the data, and they actually recorded the traffic coming into the site and coming out of the site, and they form equations that you can project how many trips a site will generate based on the size, and then it also gives you a split how many would actually be coming in at a certain time and how many would be coming out at the same time. Now, this is an equation that's meant to cover, different sites across the country. They do have a lot that are collected in Florida as well along the way, and so you're never going to be exact that's on there, but it's what we use in the industry because you can never have that exact number, and it's accepted across across the municipalities and the agencies that this is the way we do things.
When you did your traffic counts, what kind of grade did that road get?
If you let me refer back to my
With your-
traffic report
yep,
here, I'll
yeah.
pull it up. So what I'm pulling up here is we did submit a traffic study, a traffic impact analysis to the city as dated October 2015. And what we did is we looked at intersections adjacent to our site. So we have intersections along Campbell Drive over at 167th Avenue and 162nd Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And we counted the traffic in the PM peak, and then we found the highest peak 1 hour during the afternoon, which would have the most traffic. And then we used a program called Synchro, which uses.
Is there only one
service.
program, or are there multiple programs
There's
that can be
multiple programs,
punched
but
in?
they all use the ones that we use the same methodology, which is the Highway Capacity Manual, 2010 edition. So these different programs just have different ways of
Different ways of
user
construing the
interfaces for you
numbers.
to get to that answer. So you'll have consistent answers between the different programs. Synchro just has an easier to use graphical interface, so it's a reason we like to use it. But there's another program called Highway Capacity Software that does the same thing.
When you did your accident reports, did you look further to the east at another shopping center there that has easier ingress and egress and ingress?
We didn't look at that other one,
Okay,
no.
because I just want to put on the record that in 2 short years over there were a total of 27 crashes, which is approximately 200 yards further to the east of Racetrack. So between those two poorly designed areas, we've had 48 crashes in 2 years. So there is a systematic problem in that area on that road already, I believe. Not being a traffic engineer, but as a citizen, 48 crashes in maybe a 500-yard span, if that, on the highway is a problem for our citizens.
Without seeing the data, I don't know.
It's in the packet that I handed
see
you
it right
that
here,
gives
but,
you- yeah.
I do have that packet.
So that's another shopping center there, but, so that, there is a problem on that road with the way things go, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention also, but, and the thing that concerns me is without true tenants and knowing who's gonna be there, I have trouble following the counts. And I always preach up here, no matter what we're doing, to be proactive, not reactive. And it feels like what we would be in the end is a reactive body up here trying to reach and figure out how to solve a problem. And that's been done here in the city before. And it took us years to get it done, and it still is a problem. Over to the east here, where the movie theater was built, there was no consideration for turns in and turns out. Well, at the city's expense, we ended up putting in a stoplight there. And our taxpayers should not be paying for stuff as a reaction years down the road because there was a problem built and put in place when something was built. So with that, I'll reserve my comments until we get on to the next item. Thank you.
If I could just answer the one question I guess we started with here is the level of service. You'd asked about the
Yep.
grades here. When we analyzed Campbell at 167th, it had a level service C, and at 162nd Avenue, level service D.
D. Thank you.
Correct.
Councilman Williams?
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. Let me ask a few questions. As it relates to what Councilman Burgess brought up from the distance right down from what we're talking about, did you not consider that as part of your research and your traffic analysis?
Sorry, I missed the question. You were talking about the shopping center further to the east?
Yes.
We did not include that as part of this analysis.
Is there a reason why?
Well, when I was looking through the minutes from the last meeting, I saw a reference to the racetrack. I didn't see a reference to the other shopping plaza, so I just didn't.
But in order to give us a clear picture of what we're dealing with, wouldn't you not want to at least extend it a few more yards so that we could?
What I did was on the other intersection I included was for one that was closer to our site because what we saw, that there's actually a big split in traffic along Campbell Drive, and we wanted to see something that would actually be representative of the traffic that our plaza would face. We did some traffic counts along Campbell Drive, and we noticed that 162nd Avenue, there's actually a fairly significant drop in traffic once you get west of that road. The counts that we did were earlier this year, and we saw per day there's about 40,000 trips, 40,000 vehicles on Campbell Drive east of 162nd, and it drops to about 29,000. So you drop a quarter of your trips once you get west of 162nd Avenue. So significantly less traffic, and that's why we wanted to look at something closer to our site, and we looked at 14th.
Would you talk, you briefly mentioned of something about the median and the trees and the sight line, the sight line, and that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you made reference that DOT has a guidelines of what we could do and what we can't. Are you saying that the city is not following that, or have not followed that based on what you have just said on the record?
I'm not saying that the city isn't following that. I was saying that if we're looking specifically at our driveway, that I had to look for the requirements from that location. And for that location, I know that there was a few trees that were still within bounds of that line of sight. So I made a recommendation based on that. I wasn't looking specifically at what the city was providing.
Who's going to pay for that? Who would you like to pay for that?
I'm not making a recommendation who to pay for it.
No, I'm asking you because you put it in your report. Obviously, you've had.
If I could just
wait a minute now. Wait. Just wait. Because you right now just wait for a moment. My question is, how much of the median are you asking to? Perhaps in your recommendation, since that's the only one that you're recommending is to remove the trees, how much of that are you recommending to be moved?
I'll go back to my letter. Off the top of my head, I want to say it might have been about 100 feet for that one, but if you let me just look through this real quick, I will give you a more definitive answer. I don't have a foot here, but what I did note here is that it would mean a more detailed analysis based on the type and diameter of spacing of trees, but it may have to include all the trees within that median.
Okay, may I ask a question of staff, Madam Vice Mayor? Thank you.
Absolutely.
And what is the cost of those trees? Do we know what the cost of those trees that we put there are? The county put there. What is our recourse of action if they're making this recommendation? Whoever can answer it.
We would have to get an estimate from a company to transport the trees. I know typically removing a tree is close to, I mean, depending on the size of the trees, $500 to $1,000 per tree to remove. Somewhere around $500 to $1,000 per tree to remove it. Those are the large ones, correct? The large palms there?
Right. You're itching, sir, and I thought I have already scratched you, but go ahead, because I'm a little impatient with how you just do things. So just go ahead.
Just wanted to make that absolutely clear on the record. Secondly, the trees that would be removed wouldn't be removed, they'd be relocated. So that's the plan.
Okay, we can play word chess. However
but
we
at our
wanna,
expense.
You know,
At the
spin
developer's
semantics.
expense.
It doesn't matter. They're going to be removed, and where they're going to be relocated is a whole different.
Correct.
Right.
At
So what
at
would
the
it,
developer's expense.
what would that cost?
Don't have any idea at all. Because it'll be at the developer's expense.
All right. Okay, I'll reserve, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Shelley?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Similar to my colleagues up here, I mean, I have concerns about the traffic, specifically, the left out and possibly the left in. And I hear what you're saying, I hear your data, I hear your analysis, I hear your statistics, but I also know that I drive that road all the time, and I know what I experience at the racetrack. And so although there may not be, a huge number of accidents, there's still a lot of accidents. And a lot of those are near accidents, because I don't know how many times I've seen people pull out, block traffic. You've got a racetrack and the Lowe's, and they're all competing to go, well, one way or another. And it's always a mess there. And so that's what I envision when I see this project here, especially because I see this project being built, and I see the vacant land that surrounds this project on the other side of the road that eventually will get developed. I mean, you're on a commercial corridor that will eventually have additional shopping centers or other retail spaces. And so although yours is first in line, so to speak, and so you're coming before us saying, well, there's really no problem, when you talk about the numbers too, you talk about the less trips and et cetera, that's because there's really nothing in that little section right now for people to go to. But your retail position that you're proposing will add reasons for people to head that direction. And these other vacant parcels, as they fill in, will also increase, just like you have east of them right now, because there is some commercial east of them that people are going to. So all of that will eventually cause more traffic. And so I agree with my colleague here that says, I think we need to be proactive and not reactive, because if we approve this in the way that it's currently sitting, maybe it'll work for a little while, but then as things start to develop and as things come online, we run into the same problem we had with the movie theater, where then all of a sudden we realize, well, who planned this? Why did anybody catch this when this was coming before them? And so that's kind of what I see. I mean, I hear that's what all of us are trying to say. We're saying we might hear what you're saying, but we want solutions. We want you to not argue with everything we're saying, but find out how can we work together to bring this project to life. And I'm not hearing that from you right now. I'm just hearing reasons why what we're saying is irrelevant or not correct or not important. And I don't think that's going to help in moving this project forward. The other thing too, you talk about no space for U-turns. I know I go up to Palmetto Bay on US 1, and there's a couple places that I go and visit, and I can't go left. And I have to go, half a mile, 2 miles down the road before I find an area that allows for a U-turn, because you have all these no U-turn signs. And it doesn't necessarily affect the retail space. It doesn't affect the number of people that are going to those establishments. So I don't see how the no space for U-turn necessarily is going to kill your project. That's what I don't quite understand yet. And the other thing too you mentioned, and you say that we can add a light later on. So let's approve your project is what you're saying, and if we find that there's a problem, then we can try to get a light added, which we all know from going through the county. No matter how many times we want the light, the county may say, we're not going to give you the light, we're not going to pay the expense. And so I think the opposite is also true. We don't put in the left turn lane now, and then later on, if there's a need for it, then the light can be added at that time. I mean, so it can go both ways as far as when to add that light. So I just have concerns about how this project is being presented, and I think we all would love for the retail to come to the city of Homestead. We'd all love the development on this project, but I don't feel that we're getting worked with. And so that's my biggest issue here, and nothing you've said to me is convincing me that the traffic is not a problem, because I still see traffic as a problem going forward. And so that's kind of where I am right now, unless can be convinced otherwise. So thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Shelley. Would you like to respond specifically to what Councilman Shelley just, go ahead.
Right. I don't mean to give the impression that what I'm trying to tell you that what is being mentioned by the council is irrelevant or is wrong. What we had specific comments that were brought up, which we were trying to address. We wanted to show that we did look at them and that these were issues we may have found with them. It wasn't to say that wasn't trying to point you out to say you're wrong. It's just we have to state what we see when we're looking at it. And as far as, I guess, traffic coming to the area, we do realize that, there are some vacant parcels in the area. In fact, I think one of them's just to the south of us. And there is an agreement between our property and the adjacent one to share in costs for things like that come along in the future, like the signal, if something is warranted in the future. I mean, I don't want to put words into their mouths, but a traffic signal, I think, would be a benefit to the site. It's generally something that makes it easier to access your site, but we're just having to adhere to these rules and regulations that have a certain minimum requirements for us, and we can't say we meet those to tell you, yes, put the signal in right now.
Just a follow-up, and I guess one of the questions I meant to ask as well, so I do have actually a question besides my long comment, but and that is, why is this left turn needed so badly? What is the effect on your property? Are you losing millions of dollars? Are retail spaces saying that they will not occupy the space if there's not a left out? Because that's what I also find hard to believe is when I go to other communities and other places, and there's plenty of properties that it's right turn in and right turn out, and there's major food, major chain stores that are occupying those spaces. So my question is, why is this left turn out, which we've all expressed our concern for, how is that, where's, what's the issue there? Why is that such a big deal?
Councilman, he's our traffic engineer. He's not the
Come to the
marketing
mic.
guy.
Come to the
If-
mic.
Answer.
If I
Go
could
answer.
speak to it, if I could speak to two things. First of all, I've represented retail people for 35 years. Every one of them will tell you, every retail tenant will look at that site and it'll be a B site without a left turn in, a left turn out. It'll just be a B site, and you'll get B tenants there. That's just what every retail guy will tell you. But I just want to emphasize one thing, that we were kind of in the middle of our presentation, and I was going to let the traffic engineer speak to all those things, and then I was going to tell you really what the developer has in mind, and I don't think it was discussed at the last meeting, and I wanted to discuss it, and he wants to discuss it at this meeting. The developer has absolutely no objection, in fact, would like to see a traffic signal there. It is the best solution for everyone, not only for the city, for Campbell Drive, but also for the developer and all the tenants. And the developer has an agreement with the B1 guy, the people who own the B1 zoned area. The agreement contemplates that in the future there will be the warrants will ultimately be there for a traffic signal, and this developer, 33030, and the developer of the B1 parcel, which is larger to the south, will share the cost of the traffic signal. And that's already built into the development. I think what Mr. Reardon is telling you, that right now, without development there, we don't meet the warrants. And it'll be some time before we meet the warrants. It'll be at least the development of this site and maybe the development of some of the B1 site before we meet the warrants and are able to do it. But we can commit to not only the payment of it, but the installation of that traffic signal, which is to everyone's benefit. And the developer's not arguing that at all. It's just right now, if you look at the alternatives to access to that site, I think Mr. Reardon has explained that to you. The safest alternative is the alternative that you all don't like. But it's the safest from the traffic engineer's point of view, because the U-turns are not as safe as the left turns out. So here we are in this dilemma. We're caught prior to the development of the site. You got a developer who's willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for a traffic signal at no cost to the city, but he can't build it now. All he can do is commit to it. And however you want to cement that commitment, I think we're willing to do that. But we can't tell you we can build it next week or before the first building permit, because that's out of our control. All we can do is do the warrant studies, and as you see the traffic increase over the years, then we'll have the funds set aside to put in the traffic signal. So I just want to emphasize, you have a very cooperative, responsible developer here that's not trying to shirk anything. He's trying to find the best solution and willing to spend a lot of money to do that. And we put that out to you, and we're happy to discuss a mechanism to get from here to there. Thank you.
I'm done for now. Thank you.
Councilman Burgess.
Thank you. If everybody's done with the traffic engineer, I have a question for Mr. Coker, because this goes back to the first thing that James read was granting a special exception. What is so special about this project, or extraordinary, that it's going to bring to the citizens that we should grant an exception? Because the exception was put in place, and you were probably here back then, because you've been down here many a days in your life, good and bad. But that exception was put in place for big box stores, not necessarily strip malls. So what's going to be extraordinary about this strip mall project that makes it worthwhile for us to put in place?
That's not the criteria for a special exception. The criteria you have in your code.
It's not the exception, but it's the question I'm asking. What's extraordinary for me to grant the special exception? Because I don't have to follow what staff says.
Because this happens to be two parcels 2 parcels.
What's extraordinary about the project?
If I could just address it. This happens to be 2 parcels together in one site plan. If it was 2 separate parcels coming in for each 20,000 square foot each, there would be no special exception. But because it's one integrated project, it just trips
With one in and out.
No, it doesn't. It has other ins and outs, but this is the main in and out.
Right.
Yeah. But it's treated, it requires a special exception only because the 2 parcels are together. They wouldn't require a special exception otherwise. You couldn't possibly develop economically something that size with less than 20,000 square feet. It's just a matter of the math of the size of the parcel. And we meet all the other criteria in your code for a special exception. This is the size, that's the reasonable amount of retail and office and commercial uses on that site.
Okay, thank you for not answering.
Councilman Maldonado?
Just wait, yeah. Because my question is going to be for staff.
Okay.
For both,
So I'll take
Mr. Barry, so
Councilman-
if you want to go
take
ahead and
Councilman
let
Williams, okay.
Mr. Williams go ahead, I'm okay with that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. As it relates to some of the comments that the traffic persons that you've hired, I just got off the phone with our Public Works Director, and he's instructed, or he has indicated to me that that whole site there, as it relates to those trees, were DOT design. So it was through their specs and all of their recommendations, not us. So when you make that comment, I'm sorry, you probably had because I'm talking behind. You made a reference as if they were not in the proper guidelines for, as it relates to the state or DOT. But the real answer, or the real the problem is that it was by design from FDOT itself. So I don't know where you would get that possibility or term to say that we are not in compliance, or that coming to that intersection, the trees need to be removed, when it was DOT that actually did the design and approved it.
When I was looking at the site, I went to look at any rules, regulations City of Homestead may have about doing the driveway design. Because it is a county road, we found that we had to defer back to what the county would have for the requirements for that. We did look through their rules, and actually, because of the way their codes were written, I'm trying to look for my exact verbiage here, but there wasn't anything specific to this type of driveway entrance onto the county road, so we deferred to state standards as a guideline for recommendations on this.
Exactly, and I'm saying that state standards was, the design was by DOT, according to our professional here on staff, and I think he's going to be joining us in a few on the line to verify what I'm saying. So, I believe if you're going to make those kind of statements and with that issue, then that's what I'm going to have a problem with, because I think we do things trying to be proactive and trying to make sure that we can mitigate any concerns. But I'm of the opinion at this time too now that I don't see a give and give and take or compromise, and that's all we're trying to do, is provide some kind of compromise to some of these critical issues that my colleagues have raised. And maybe it's the way that the attitude or the articulation is coming out of or from that we're finding resistance from some of the questions, or as the city is in fault, or as as almost as a blame game. And so that's really is not the way to approach us here, this council, in my professional and personal opinion, but to bring something to the table that will be some workable solutions, and not to insult our intelligence by saying what your job is and what my job is and all of that. I'm gonna tell you, I was very taken back by that, and I didn't like the tone in which that was done. And I'm talking to you, Mr. Attorney, that represent your applicant. So maybe perhaps a softer tone to get a compromise from us. Your project will probably go through, but as tonight, I don't see it even going through, based on your tone. Thank you.
If I could speak just specifically to the trees comment, this was not a comment to the city saying this is something the city did wrong. This was me looking at the site plan submitted by the developer and saying, here's something that I see that you've already gone in to try to get approval on, and you've gotten approval on, and I think we can make this better. We can make this more conservative to make sure that there are no blind spots. Again, this is not something specific to the city and trying to say the city's doing it wrong. This was me trying to be a good consultant for my client.
And we're just protecting the citizens, all 65,000 of them. And as you said, 40,000 cars going down that particular road a day. We're protecting them. So you're protecting your client, one or two people, and we're protecting the citizens of Homestead. So you can take that how you want to take it, okay?
And again, I didn't say I'm trying to protect my client. I was just trying to say this is a more conservative design to make sure that we can provide safe access for the public.
Okay. Thank
Councilman? Okay. Maldonado?
Just go ahead and put me on. I know we're trying to get our Julio Brea on our line. There was a question in regards to Campbell Drive, what we can and can't do. Maybe I ask Mr. Cordino in the meantime, and in regards to, our question. I guess my question would be, how and what can we touch in regards to 312
Hello.
streets? Julio, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, just hang in there. I'm asking, I'll re-ask the question, and this will go to staff, as well as Mr. Cordino. My question is in regards to 312th Street. What can and can't we do in regards to modifying or adding or subtracting from 312th Street as a city?
I think we can make recommendations, but ultimately the approval rests with the county. The county road, section line road, and they have ultimate approval over all traffic operations within that facility.
So even any suggestions that we would have, it would be through them regardless, right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming on, Julio. It was the same question towards you in regards to what we can and cannot do and on 312th Street, because from what you kind of brought to light something in your study which I've noticed every time, and I was one of the ones who kind of brought up the idea of from the racetrack comment, and I think was myself, and because my office is here in Homestead, and I'm here pretty much every day of the week, traveling up 312th Street. I live in Malibu Bay, which is on the west side, which is where the traffic is less. But and going from the term of what Councilman Burgess said and trying to be proactive is that in the past, it's all just been allowed. And we're having a tougher time to continue to swallow that pill, because we're no longer a small town. We're now 65,000 and growing. And so right now, I'll tell you a specific issue that's really hindering my community, which is in Malibu Bay. Right now, there's where's the Dairy Queen right now, which you can only make a right-hand turn out of that location. And the only other alternative is to go back up the road and kind of come out at a light, and then you can make a left and right turn. And you're correct in the sense of, no U-turns can be done. They're efficient U-turns, but nonetheless, they're being done. And so what's happening is that, let's say just in my community in Malibu Bay, and I see this in Waterstone, if a U-turn is made, if they're going into our community, into our driveway, and they're hindering all traffic. And because those lanes are kind of, it's a crazy mess for us trying to just come in and out of there at peak times. Now, I'm sure our numbers are not going to be anything close to from Cutler Ridge up to Miami-Dade, where we're Homestead, we're kind of the last mile. So our numbers might not be impressive, but for the city and where we're at right now, we're going. it's a huge impact for us. And even though maybe those numbers of 42 just in one location, or even if it's 24 in one location, compared to Miami, it's very, it's small to Miami, but to Homestead, it's a huge deal. And so, and according to what, and I was going to ask the question in regards to what Mr. Williams asked was, why wasn't the study done in regards to where the Town and Country Center is done, where they have multiple exits. They have a few on US 1, some on the north side, and the only one that deals with 312th Street is the one right there on the south. And then that one is the same pattern that we're talking about, where as anyone who wants to leave there, first of all, you're waiting forever to get out of there. When you do get out of there, you are having to watch what's to the left of you and what's oncoming once you make a left-hand turn heading westbound on 312th Street. I myself have been in numerous accidents, not accidents, but near accidents there. And I've seen accidents there physically myself because of that pattern. And so that's the issue that we're having. So as a council, I think that we need to look at what our policy is, because of course they're gonna go according to what's written, but you and I, we all know up here that whatever is written way back in the days. We're talking about residents of 20 to 30,000 maybe, and probably even less if we look at that code. Maybe I would dare ask, and maybe I might be wrong, so I'll go ahead and ask, maybe those codes that we're dealing with, how far back do they go? Are they current, or are they kind of?
The codes relative to, ask you the question again?
So in regards to our, to what our codes are in the sense of how we're determining, our traffic studies or what is required to build in our area, our codes. Right. What is the date of those codes? And what I'm saying is that, we know that there's codes they're old that we're still dealing with that are, I think they're different than today's time.
Well, the code we use to put together methodologies for traffic impact analyses are probably a decade old or a little bit older. So they're relatively recent compared to the rest of the code.
Right.
In those, we work with the applicants, develop methodologies jointly, make an agreement before we go out and measure them and implement them, in partnership with the applicants. So
I guess my final take and thought is that, and being proactive is kind of saying, look, enough of this. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's really look at 312 and the rest of our streets as we continue to grow. And let's look at putting some teeth into that so that when we are approached and the future council is approached and issues on this, where we're just having to say, well, we're meeting the code. There's nothing we could do. We can't talk to Miami-Dade County's not going to let us touch the street. So, what is left to us and the rest, and the past council was they just passed it because there's no other alternatives. And so I guess that's what I kind of want to put out where I stand on this issue. I was one of the ones who were like, listen, I'm dealing with this on a daily basis. And so this is such a large project that now we got a huge concern. So I'll hold the rest of my comments and my questions till afterwards.
Thank you, Councilman Maldonado. Did you have a question for Julio, Councilman Williams? Yeah. I'll take you while he's still on the line, and then the other colleagues.
Thank you so very much. Julio, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am.
Would you quantify the statement that the question that I asked you for the body that's here tonight as it relates to DOT and those median and those trees?
Yes, the medians along Campbell Drive, depending on where you look at, because from 157th East, it's Homestead jurisdiction, and from 157th West is Dade County jurisdiction. Now, in terms of the planning of the medians, those were done through a DOT grant, where the design was actually approved by DOT landscape staff at the time that they were done. I believe it was probably like about 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago is when those plantings were done. If my thoughts are okay, but that's how those landscaping designs were done. It was done through a grant, and the grant required DOT to approve the plants before the actual planting of all those royal palms, et cetera, and all the ground cover that was put in there.
Okay, thank you, Julio, for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Okay,
You're welcome.
thank you, Councilman. Councilman Burgess?
Yes. At the request of our attorney, I'd like to state that I gave the applicant the sheet of paper that we had received from the police department, and it related to tabs 12, 13, and 14. And then I'd also like to make another comment. Yeah, you bring up the people, the proprietor on B1. I spoke with them yesterday, so they've got no plans, any future plans or anything in the works. In fact, he asked me if I knew anybody that might be interested in coming back there. So in my eyes, that makes it even longer down the road before they become a part of the plan to help with the traffic signalization or the need with the counts as your engineer brings up. So I just wanted to put that on the record too, that I did speak with them yesterday, and that was what was reiterated to me through the conversation. Thank you.
Councilman Roth?
Thank you. Kind of sounds like we're at a spot that we're not going to get out of tonight. And I might want to make a recommendation, and I don't know if there's a way to defer this one more time so they can make these corrections, or...
The attorney speak before we attempt to defer.
Okay. So I'll reserve my time for now then.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With regards to the police department data information that was handed, I'd like to make sure Mr. Coker has the opportunity to review that.
We've looked at it, and it doesn't say at all what type of accidents. Whether the accidents are left turns out, which is the issue here, left turns in, rear end collisions, things of that nature. And since the people who, this isn't a public document, it's not we don't know how it was generated. We object to it being put in the record as not being competent to make any point relevant to the applications here today.
Since this is a public hearing, I would like the public to have the opportunity to weigh in.
As you have told me, this is your meeting. And let me just say that we're still about halfway through our presentation, and we have another engineer to talk about this, and I have some questions for Mr. Reardon. At whatever point you want me to finish my presentation,
Go
I'll
ahead
do
and
it.
finish your presentation, because I would like the public to weigh in, because we do have to move on, but I would like to give you your due time.
Okay. Mr. Reardon, I just need to ask you a couple of questions, and I'll have Mr. Plummer. In your report, you looked at all the alternatives for access to this property for commercial development, right? Correct?
We looked, yes.
Okay. Did you conclude that the access as proposed is the safest alternative for both the public and the residents of the city of Homestead and the users of this shopping center and the users of Campbell Drive?
Of the options we looked at, with the recommendation made about removing the trees, yes, I said that that was safer than trying to make a multi-point turn on Campbell Drive.
Okay. So, just so we're clear for the record, if you restricted the access to a right turn in and right turn out, that would be less safe than what the developer is proposing now.
For the traffic making a U-turn at those adjacent intersections, yes.
Okay. And there are two other access points planned for this shopping center, correct?
I'll double check the site plan. I just don't have it in front of me right now.
Can you speak directly into the microphone,
Yes,
please?
sorry
Thank
about that.
you.
I see one to the east and then the main entrance that we're talking
So
about
there's
here.
one other that's a right turn in, right turn out?
It's a right turn in, it looks to be.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, One more question. Does the traffic movement as designed comply with all applicable traffic engineering standards, in your opinion?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I need you both to speak directly into the microphone, okay? So that it's very clear what you're saying so that our clerks can record your comments and your questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Reardon. Mr. Plummer?
Mr. What, my colleague had a follow-up question?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Reardon.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You state it's the safest, but are you absolutely sure that it's safe for our residents to make that road, to cross that road, the way it's designed, and that there won't be accidents there?
I can't make a guarantee for any intersection that there will be no accidents.
Okay. And you're telling me that there's no other options on the record? You're telling me that there's no other way to go in and out of that place that might be safer?
I didn't state that.
I'm asking you that.
There are other ways to access everything.
Could possibly be
That
safer.
Could possibly be safer.
Thank you.
To follow up, would a signal be safer?
Speak into the microphone.
Would a traffic signal be safer?
Yes, a traffic signal would be safer for the traffic entering and exiting the site.
Can you put a signal there now?
At this time, we cannot meet the warrant to put a signal in now.
Correct. But when I think you followed my question, that there could be another roadway in and out that could be safer on that property.
Another
Or
roadway?
another entrance and exit in a different area or a different configuration. Is there a way to do that differently that could possibly be a safer way in and out? Or you're stating on the record tonight that this is the only way and the safest way?
I'm not stating this is the only way onto the site. What I'm stating is that we've looked at the options presented before us that I have in that document of restricting left turns out and requiring U-turns at the adjacent
No,
areas. It is
not on this
safer.
one. Are there other places on that property that an egress and ingress could be designed and built that might possibly resolve this problem and make it a safer way in and out of that piece of property?
I believe that the left out on the site, the way it's been centralized to the site, provides the best spacing between the adjacent intersections, which is why it's there. If we were to move the driveway closer to other intersections, you can create other conflicts and other issues, safety issues with those other intersections.
So in your professional opinion, this is the only way that it should be done?
I did not say this is the only way it should be done. What I'm stating is that the way that it's been designed, we're providing something that meets standards and that it can provide a safe egress and ingress into the site.
We can go round and round all night, but I think I've made my point. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question since you're in the midst of your presentation, and I have colleagues that may want to ask questions while you're presenting. Are you comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, Councilman
Thank you.
Shelley, you had a question. Would you like to? Okay.
Is this to the traffic engineer?
Potentially so.
Yeah, okay.
You might as well stand up there. No, my question was, I know as part of your testimony, you stated that as it relates to U-turns, you specifically quantified that by saying adjacent intersections, meaning that you only looked at the most immediate and closest intersections to this particular property, and based on that analysis, you believe that your current proposal is safer than that. But there are additional intersections that are slightly farther away than the intersections you probably did the analysis on. Did you look at those intersections as well, or only the adjacent intersections?
We only looked at the adjacent intersections. Once you start to get further away from the site, it's harder to predict what the public will do. Typically, when we look at distributions of traffic for drivers, they would go for something closer. So in instance of shopping centers, if I have to go past my site by a mile to make my U-turn, I may end up passing another site that has the exact type of use that I'm looking for, and so I wouldn't necessarily make that U-turn, which is why we looked at something closer to the site, because those are people that we would be directing to our site.
Okay, but I just wanted to make sure it's clear that you're looking at only the immediately adjacent intersections when you make your statement. That's all, I just wanted to point that out, that's all. Thank you.
Do you have anything further? Okay.
No.
This is a public hearing.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
I
To
asked you,
him.
did you have anything
I
further?
thought you were.
You have to
talking-
follow me now.
I-
Come on with your presentation.
I'm a little slow, I'm sorry. Mr. Plummer? I just have, Mr. Plummer Tim Plummer, is the traffic engineer who designed the improvements, and he's going to speak to them. Go ahead and first tell them your professional qualifications.
And I will speak closely to the microphone.
Thank you.
My name is Tim Plummer. I'm the president of David Plummer and Associates with offices at 1750 Ponce de Leon Boulevard in Coral Gables. I am a registered professional engineer in the state of Florida and been practicing for nearly 30 years. My firm did do the design plans for the intersection in question and the turn lanes. It was a long and arduous process with Miami-Dade County. We went through a couple design concepts with Miami-Dade County, and I just want to state on the record that the access plan in front of you is approved and permitted by Miami-Dade County with their blessing. Thank you.
Just my final remark again is regarding the traffic signal. Without, everyone will agree that the best solution for everyone there is a traffic signal. Everything else causes some issues. The only way that you're going to get a traffic signal out there with the developer paying for it, and whether or not the B1 parcel comes in, this developer will have to pay for that traffic signal if the warrants are met. And he's willing to do that because it's the right thing to do, number one, and it's also the right thing to do for his project. The traffic signal is the best thing to do. But without the full turning movement there, you will never meet the warrants that will give you the traffic signal. So you have a conundrum. If you restrict this to right turns in, right turns out, you will never have the volumes of the left turn out movement to warrant a traffic signal. So again, the developer is willing to put in the traffic signal with or without the help of the adjacent parcel, the B1 parcel, in any mechanism that the city seems to be fair. We can put a letter of credit up for it. Something like that is done in cities all the time when the warrants aren't met, but you have a firm commitment to put it in. And we offer that for you tonight, that as a condition of approval prior to a permit, we can put up a letter of credit for the traffic signal. And when those warrants are met, and they might be met sooner than you think, but when those warrants are met, the developer at the developer's cost will install it to everyone's benefit. Thank you very much.
Councilman Burgess.
Thank you. Mr. Coker, don't leave, please. Because I want to get back to a comment that I made at the last meeting too, and I believe your client was up at the podium when I asked him. So that we might get a kind of a true traffic count and understand what he wants to bring in there to understand the amount of traffic that goes in and out. Do they have any tenants that they're proposing? Because what I also stated last time was that I don't want to give something away and end up with a shopping center that is full of medical centers, because we don't need that down here. That doesn't help our citizens. We've already got plenty of them. So I'd like to know, and in order to give the special exception, that is a question that I think is prudent to what's going on. One, with traffic count, so we can get a good understanding, and two, what's going to go in this oversized building that he's asking for?
They don't have a tenant right now. They've got real estate brokers looking for tenants. But the traffic generation of...
I'm not worried about the traffic now. I'm worried about the product that's going to be put in there, and is it going to be of any use, true use, to the citizens of Homestead? Because you're asking for a special exception. So I'd like to know a little bit in depth as to what they propose is going to go in there.
They're trying to get retail customers.
Because we don't need another Dollar General. We don't need another dollar store. They're great tenants of the city, but we don't need that type of stuff.
It's been their experience as developers that until you have some approval with the city, you don't have anything to bring to the national tenants. And I think you'll find that universally with developers. It's a chicken and egg thing. When you have something to provide, some timetable for development, then you have something to attract a national tenant. they're not there yet, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're spending a great deal of money to get a project approved so they can take it out.
And the reason I ask is because there's 2 or 3 other shopping centers on the town. One's being redone right now, the whole exterior, whether, whatever. But they've been vacant for years and years and struggling to make a float. They're on like their 4th owner in the last 7 or 8 years. And they're redoing the whole place, revamping it, and trying to bring it up, and they're having trouble filling it. So I don't, and that's what happened over here, is they built a shopping center that I thought was going to be for the citizens of Homestead, and it is in a way because it's a Leo Medical Center. But we've got 10 of those down here. We need other services for our citizens, not just things that fill up and make a landlord money and make somebody else money and don't bring true fulfill true needs of our citizens. And that's one of my concerns. And if we're going to give you this oversized building that you're asking for, that's a legitimate concern of mine, is what's going to go in there, in this large building. It has nothing to do with traffic. I've got other concerns with this too.
The special exception has certain criteria. Those criteria have been addressed both in the staff report and by the applicant.
And I've disagreed with staff before, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilman Williams?
Are you done with your presentation?
Yeah, he said he was finished.
Yes, I'm done.
Here's where I am. And I know here's where I am, and I know there may be some, there's a motion to approve with conditions that there be no left turn until there's a signal, traffic signal there. Motion would be to approve with condition that there be no left turn until there's a traffic signal, until there's a traffic signal like that. Hypothetically speaking. Because we'll be kicking this down the road quite a bit until we find some kind of resolution.
Can we allow the public to just?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what I'm off, that's what.
You're going to proffer
Proffer
you're proffering that. Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak in support of this application from the public? Oh, no. Anyone would like to speak in opposition of this application from the public? Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Councilman?
All right. Well, I'd like to hear with that proffer, if that is made, that if that's, yes.
Takes it a second. Just before you all proceed, Mr. Cordino would like to.
We have a Scrivener's error in the applicant's request. It's very simple. It's just simply we've transposed our east and west. The property in the description says that the location of the property is east of 15th Avenue and west of 13th. Those east and west are reversed. It's west of 15th and east of 13th. So it is exactly the same where it sits on the map. We've just described it incorrectly.
Thank you. Councilman?
So just to start the dialogue of if that is something to look at, or, because we can defer and kick it down the road, but obviously gonna keep coming back. And that's what I'm proffering up. If not, whatever other suggestions that you all have is fine with me.
Okay, Councilman Burgess?
Thank you. I guess my question would be to staff on the possible motion that Councilman Williams made. How would that be enforced? Would we not allow them to build that lane? And what would we do on 312 so that there would not be an allowable left-hand turn, if his proposal was to come to life?
You would ask them to design the driveway with no left turn out and have that permitted by the county. And we wouldn't allow the development.
But what would we do on 312 that would prohibit a left-hand turn? Because we have a no left-hand turn now over on 152 at the backside of the Publix, and 99.9% of the cars make a left-hand turn going out of there to go south on 152, but it's a prohibited turn.
You could, well, you start off with signage. You would start off by angling the driveway to the east.
That one over there is angled to the north. Next.
Those are the type of things that you would do to get it done. Put a diverter in the road, kind of block that access out.
But
and
wouldn't
then
that wouldn't allow your traffic to come in if you put a diverter out there, would it?
you could, well, you would try to only allow the traffic to come in. You would not provide the room or the stacking for them to get out. I mean, those are issues that can be handled through design, and then those that choose to sneak through and make illegal turns, you would hope to enforce it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Williams, I believe your motion still is on the floor.
Okay, if I'll defer to
Councilman Shelley.
I guess the question I have too is if we pass a motion that maybe is not supported by the developer of the property, could that have a negative effect on the developer's ability to then transfer the property or do something different with the property? Does it somehow bind the land in any way? Does it have any type of future consequences if we pass a motion and they don't move forward with any project whatsoever? Does it have any effect, or the next person would just come in and change the site plan or change something different?
Whatever decision that you all decide this evening with regards to the special exception, the site plan, and with the tentative plat, would be development orders with a condition that would run with the property. So if the developer sold the property 2 days from now, subsequent property owner would take it subject to the entitlements that are on their property, which would include this condition in the development order. If the developer doesn't build anything and holds the property, then the site plan has an expiration. It allows for extensions, but at some point you're capped out. And then it would have to come back in for subsequent approval if that expiration time frame ran and they had not yet pulled permits or started development on the site.
Because my biggest concern is I concur with, I support the concept of no left turns, without a signal. And that way, I support that concept. My only concern is I don't want to take action that is not supported by the developer, in which it somehow hinders the developer's ability to do something in the future or to sell that property. I don't want to inhibit the value of the land such that it never can change hands, and now we're stuck with vacant land forever, because I think we want to encourage development of some kind there. So that's really my question is if we pass something that is not, that the developer's not going to move forward with, will that somehow affect the ability for that property to change hands or to somehow become a clout on the land?
Really can't speak to that issue, Councilman, because that's a business decision.
Right.
That's something that the developer, not the city, would be concerned with or deal with in the business aspect, or whether or not this potential approval with a condition would stymie development, or stop development, or result in the ability of the applicant not to be able to sell the property.
Right. But for me as a policymaker, it is a concern, because again, I don't want to vote on something tonight that I think is maybe, if it moved forward, would be good for us, but also at the same time then cause a futuristic problem where now I've had this developer who can't do anything with the land, or it never changes hand, or it unfairly punishes the developer strictly because we had a difference of opinion. What I'd prefer is the developer to work with the council and actually come up with a solution that they're happy with and we're happy with, so that we can move the project forward in a positive manner. But alternative to that, then I'm not opposed to Councilman Williams' motion, but I am concerned about whether or not that could have a negative effect, and I'm still not clear on that. So that's where I am.
If it helps you a little bit, a subsequent purchaser could come in with their own site plan, come to the council and say, I'd like to redevelop the property in this way. In terms of the likelihood of that being approved, that would be a risk of the new purchaser. But this site plan would be in effect for a certain period of time, but someone could come in and start the process again, a new purchaser, if they had another idea or listened to this debate and decided to do something differently, if that helps.
Yeah, and that's the key. I just want to make sure it can go back to kind of vanilla, if it went to a new developer, went back to a vanilla palette, so that they could come back and then they could do what they wanted to do, versus having to undo something to then redo something, which we know costs money as you go through a process, a public process here. So that would be my biggest concern. So the answer is no, it wouldn't cause that for future purchasers. Then I could consider it.
Not yet. Speak to the issue, don't speak to the motion.
If you could table this again, we've heard all of your comments. We've got 2 sets of traffic engineers and designers. We've got marketing people, and we can put it all back to them with your comments and see if there's something else that can be done, some way we can address all the issues that you all have brought up tonight. So we'd appreciate it. And I guess I'm asking because I don't know how long that's going to take. If you would table the matter, and then we'd have to re-advertise when we ask Mr. Corradino to put it back on the agenda, if that would be okay?
Let me just say this. You spend a lot of money into this, and it's a very important project for you. What I would suggest is you probably should have reached out to all of us to speak to us regarding this, because right now I'm not supporting any of it. Because beyond the traffic and the safety concerns, I have a concern about the value that it would bring to the city. To me, it hasn't risen to the level for me to substantiate a yes vote for a special exemption. Although by the book, you met the requirements, but by my book, you haven't met them, because I don't see that there is a need for another commercial retail use space in the city, not knowing what tenants are going to be in there. So for future reference, have a conversation with all of us so that you get all of our feedback prior to coming to the meeting, okay?
You promise to meet with us?
I meet with everybody who requests to meet with me.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Next time, just reach out to me.
I'll make a motion for deferral. You don't want consensus?
No, thank you.
Motion for deferral. No.
It's properly moved in second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Take that as a deferral on all 3 items.
Councilman Williams?
I do have a question, and that question is, with the deferral, not time sensitive, or time that would be allotted for it, what will be the, and I guess what I'm trying to get at here is, I heard Councilman Shelley say in these words, and correct me if I'm wrong, that something that will make us happy. What specifically can we say tonight that they will bring back a product the next time that will speak to your concern? What will that look like, so that we're not, right, I'm just, because if we're asking for a deferral and to make sure that all of our issues are addressed, what specifically, because you made the comment or statement of it, what is your issue with the product that will make you happy in terms to move this project forward?
I mean, my specific concern are these left turns. Definitely the left turn out, potentially the left turn in, depending on how it's designed. but specifically the left turn out is my biggest holdup in the traffic that could cause. Obviously some of my other colleagues have other issues that are broader than traffic, but mine is primarily that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a basis of what we're asking them to do, because they come back again and then we are stuck in the same place.
What I would suggest is that you meet with all of us and get our specific concerns. You can gauge the temperature before you come back to us. And if you feel that it's not going to pass based on your conversation with us, then you reserve the right to move forward or not. But I think you need to meet with us specifically, get our concerns, and address them. And be willing to meet in the middle, because right now it doesn't appear that you're willing to meet in the middle, to me. So be willing to meet in the middle and get all of our concerns. Councilman Burgess?
Yes, Mayor. And to echo Jimmy's question there, I think one of the other things, and the Vice Mayor also struck on it tonight, is we're concerned about what's going to go in there. And yes, as she stated and I stated and Mr. Cordino stated, you have met the requirements for a special exception of what's in the book. But that doesn't mean you get it handed to you. And we are making sure, we're trying to make sure that our citizens have products and goods and things that they need down here. Because you know as good as anybody, they drive up the Turnpike to get a lot of stuff. Yes, the one shopping center is here and does well. But we need more places that give them the true needs of what they have. I mean, brings the true goods that they need for them. So we don't have to have people going up and down the Turnpike. Because right now, there's people stacked up at 5 a.m. trying to get on the Turnpike to get out of Homestead. And to come home, it is whatever it is, a 3-hour drive from downtown most nights for our poor citizens. And then they have to turn around and get back in the car and go somewhere else. So we're hoping that you guys bring us a grade A product with services that are truly needed down here in Homestead. And that would make me jump for joy with a special exception. And hopefully we can get the traffic worked out where we all believe that there's a safe way in and out of there for our citizens. Because unfortunately, we've got a person that's sitting here tonight that has a sibling, a child that is in a vegetative state because of a turn out of the racetrack. And one of those on Campbell Drive is enough for a lifetime, for a family to have to suffer through. And that's not what I ever want to see again on that road. And that's one of the reasons I'm so strongly opposed to the ingress and egress plan that you have right now. So with that, I'll leave it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Burgess. There has been a motion to defer. I believe it has been properly moved in second. Roll call vote.
Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Shelley? Yes. Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fairclough?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Thank all of you, and thank you for your patience. I know we spent a long time on this agenda item, so I appreciate all of your support and hanging in there with us. Next item, City Attorney. That would be tab 15.
Yes, Vice Mayor. Tab 15 and tab 16 pertain to the same development. So I could introduce both of those items, collectively have a public hearing, vote on each separately.
Is that okay with Mayor and Council? Well, Vice Mayor and Council, you're comfortable with that? Yes? To take them both collectively? Go ahead.
Tab 15 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a variance request from Section 30-433 off-street parking area requirements in all districts of the City Code of Ordinances to permit 244 parking spaces where 265 parking spaces is required in conjunction with the operation of a 264,892 square foot industrial facility located on the southwest corner of Southwest 142nd Avenue and Southwest 336th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. Tab 16 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for a 264,892 square foot industrial facility on approximately 14.71 acre parcel within the Homestead Park of Commerce, located on the southwest corner of Southwest 142nd Avenue and Southwest 336th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Questions from council?
Mr. Cordino.
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain the difference between this special exception that's being asked for and the last one that was being asked for so that people don't get confused as to why we maybe gave one tonight and not giving another one?
Well, on this one, sir, we're asking for a variance from
Oh,
the
a variance.
parking code, which is, and the other one was a special exception. And so the difference is that a variance generally has hardship criteria. The applicant needs to meet those criteria through an evaluation, which are different from the special exception criteria. Site plans are the same exact thing.
Right.
So this is a bit different.
And this is in a industrial zone, so it's not affecting anything as far as like a shopping center would be oversized or
Yes,
something
so this
like
is
that.
in the Park of Commerce. The issue with this is that it's a very large industrial building that is seeking a parking variance. The size of the building, in our opinion, necessitates that variance. The variance is only, I think, 21 spaces out of several hundred, 9%, for space in the building that doesn't necessarily warrant parking spaces. That being said, there will be enough parking for 150 employees when they plan on only having 100 employees, plus the additional trucks to use it. So we see no negative impacts with granting this variance.
Okay, I guess this question would be for the attorney. And this isn't pertaining to them at all, because I don't know what kind of traffic they're going to have there. But as the Park of Commerce grows out, can we limit the pattern of travel for semis in and out of there, where they come down, have to get off on exit 5 or exit 6 and come that way instead of exit 2? Because my concern right now is, as they get off and exit the turnpike, they come eastbound on Campbell Drive, 312. And as they go to make their turn on 152 coming south, which brings them through a heavily traveled residential area, one. But two, that intersection is not built to handle semis. And if you go over there now, the sidewalk is completely crushed into little pieces. And they have to run up on the sidewalk, 1, and 2, they have to go over a diverter out in the middle of the road to make the turn, which causes the trucks to wobble back and forth and go over. I'm sure one day somebody's going to, lose one there. So that's just a question as we move forward and try to be proactive, as I try to always be, something for us to think about, and ask applicants or whatever if that would inhibit their way of business in that.
Yes, sir, you have the ability to do that. They're all public roads, but other cities with large industrial areas do designate truck routes, build specific truck facilities, and do operational design of their roads to make it easier or harder for trucks to move through. So that is a possibility as the traffic builds in the area.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Any other questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Marcelo Fernandez, 7440 Southwest 50th Terrace in Miami. I'm here representing Dunham Bush. They're a multinational commercial air conditioning manufacturer who have decided to come back to the States. They had a manufacturing facility in Virginia 20 years ago. They're coming back to do manufacturing and assemblage. They chose the city of Homestead and the Park of Commerce for their new home. They will be building this facility for their own use. It's a custom build site for them. And I think based on my experience and also what's been here at the Park of Commerce, it's exactly the kind of use and tenant you want. They will be using a large space with a very low density. We've met with the Homestead Air Force Base, which complies with all their needs that they have there. We're also not a heavy manufacturing. In this 200,000 square feet, we have 2 bays for semi-trucks. So the use is not heavily semi-trucked, it's regular trucks. And they will be, obviously generating and having much employment here for their factory. So we believe that it exactly complies with the concept behind the Park of Commerce. And what we were asking for is the approval of the site plan. This site previously had been approved for more general warehouse uses, and there was 5 buildings, a lot more parking and use. So I think this is a great use for you guys, and will generate more local employment. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, we also have the architect here to answer any questions if you need.
Anyone would like to ask any follow-up questions? Councilman Burgess.
I would just like to say welcome and thank you. Could you just go a little more, elaborate a little more about your conversations with the air base so that everybody's, maybe a little, make sure that everybody's comfortable with what transpired there?
Sure. We are in the, I forgot exactly the terms they used, but in a target zone of hazardous zone there. So they, criteria would be heights. There are limitation on heights for all the air traffic coming in and out. And also the density. They like seeing low density. So if there is any potential accident in that area, the damage is reduced. So of the usable or developed areas we have, there'll be, there's large factory spaces, there's a small percentage of density of human beings per square feet, which is what they also liked about this. And reducing the parking count is also something they liked because it shows that you bring less people to that area. Those are the main concerns they had.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Councilman Shelley.
Yeah, I just wanted, we have someone from the air base here. I didn't know if they wanted to speak officially on the record.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. I didn't actually get sworn in tonight. The clerk would like to swear me in. Sorry, I have to be honest. It's my nature.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I. Please state your name.
Larry Ventura.
Hereby swear or affirm.
Hereby swear or affirm.
That the information I present.
That the information I present.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
I'm a stickler for details. We were at the DRC, and so we reviewed, because this is in the accident potential zone 2 in the Park of Commerce. We did review the developer's plans through the city staff. The density issue did come up. As you know, this particular parcel was vested against the airport zoning ordinance for both density and land use. So we were at the mercy of both the developer and the council in those areas. We were happy to see that the density in this area should meet the criteria that the base likes to see in the ACUS, which is less than 50 people per acre. The orientation of this facility is very large, and the workers on the floor will be spread out throughout the facility. The office component that they have one on one end in phase 1 and another one on the other end in phase 2. I think there's going to be, like, if memory serves, 20 on one end and 30 on the other as far as office workers go, so that's what they approximate. So we have no issues with density in the building. We are happy to see them put in for a parking variance, because the less parking there is, the less people there potentially are, and that's better for us because it helps us keep the density down. So we have no issues with that. We also examined the facility besides for density, and we're okay with the land use. We looked at anything that might affect pilot vision, such as steam, smoke, dust, glare, manufacturing of any chemicals, electromagnetic sources that would affect airfield navigation systems. We found no issues in any of those areas, so the base has no objection to this proposal, and we are good with the variance which they are requesting. We think that helps us.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was on the record, and thank the applicant or the developer for coming in and building a product, you know, in the Park of Commerce. We're looking to continue to develop that area and working with the Air Force Base so closely, which we find is one of our big economic engines. So this is a win-win all the way around, so thank you.
I think so too, thank you.
Yes, I just want to make a statement. This is exactly what I'm talking about, community partnership, working together to sort out the issues, bring back a great product that's going to benefit the residents of Homestead. And if they can, the last applicant can take a chapter out of their book, it will be a long way. Thank you.
Would anyone like to speak in support of the application from the public? This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in opposition of the application? Would you like to speak? Come on. In support or opposition?
Support.
Okay.
As you already know, Vice Mayor Fairclough, our community is the closest one to this project. I want to say thank
Excuse me,
you.
can we have your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you. Stephen McDuffie, 139 Southeast 36th Avenue. I know you're tired of seeing my face. But I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming to our city, our home. This is our homestead. Thank you for being a part of that. Thank you to the council for asking the tough questions and what's needed. Councilman Shelley, Councilman Burgess, y'all have been doing pretty good tonight. Thank you so much. But when it comes to this is exactly what my generation needs. Good paying jobs to be able to draw my generation down here and to be able to buy homes and other things like that. That's what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDuffie. Would there be anyone else in support or opposition? Nope. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move it.
Properly moved and second. Any final comments from council?
That's for both the variance and for the site plan.
Move both.
Properly moved and second for tabs 15 and 16. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, City Attorney.
Yes, the last and final quasi-judicial item this evening is tab 17. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval to Connor and Gaskins Unlimited LLC, LOBT LLC, for an extended stay hotel on 2 parcels of property located between the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike and Southwest 152nd Avenue, south of Southwest 308th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Any questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to speak?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Jerry Proctor, attorney with office at 1450 Brickell Avenue, representing the applicant. This is the last step on a hotel project that the council has supported, and we appreciate that, and we hope that you'll approve this plat to finish up the public hearing part of things. We are in for permits already, and hope to have a hotel for you in not too much longer. And I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in support of this application? Would anyone like to speak in opposition? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Any additional questions from Mayor and Council? Okay. Councilman Burgess.
To staff, I know that there were some issues with the electric and getting it underground and all that. Have all those issues, or Mr. Proctor, if you want to answer, have all those issues been worked out to the best of everybody's knowledge?
Councilman Burgess. Also, too, utilities can speak to that issue.
Yeah.
I think that everything has been resolved, but
Okay. I know in the past, when you guys had been here, that was not a sticking point, but a matter of negotiation and getting work through. Right, so, okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Welcome to the town.
Any other questions or comments from council? Has this been properly moved in second? Did we move this in tonight? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
Properly moved in second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Before I move on to the next agenda item, I just wanted to mention, I know there are some that signed up for public comment, and you're probably waiting to speak. You're free to stay the entire time, but there are some comment cards that we received after the deadline. Our policy has been to report 30 minutes prior to the council meeting starts, in order to be able to speak during public comment. So there were 3 cards that were submitted after that time frame. So you won't be able to speak tonight because you didn't meet the time frame. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, and I didn't want you to continue sitting because we put the policy in place, and we have to kind of draw the line in the sand, because if we do it tonight, then we'll keep having to do it, and it's like, what's the point of putting that policy in place? So I'm going to enforce that tonight. For those of you who did not meet the deadline, my apologies to you, but we made the rules, we have to abide by them, okay? So I'll forward these back to the city clerk, and if you want to verify whether or not you met that time frame, you're free to do so at this time. Next item, city attorney.
Request for waiver of usage fees, tab 18.
Ministerio Evangelistico is requesting the mayor and council authorize city manager to approve the attached request for a waiver of usage fees in the amount of $340 for the use of Harris Field Pavilion to host a Christmas celebration on December 17, 2016. According to the City Code, Chapter 20, Section 2011, fees and charges, the city council sets fees and has the right to waive park and recreation fees by a majority vote.
Questions from council? Yes, they're here. They've been very, very patiently waiting. Do we have any? Oh, Shelley, Councilman Shelley.
If they're going to speak, I'd like to hear what they say first, because that
Okay.
may answer my questions.
Good evening. Good evening, all councilors. It's an honor to us to be here. We are representing alliances without frontiers. As you know,
Excuse me, could we have your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Noel Wilson. I'm ex-veteran. I was stationed in Homestead Air Force Base. I live in 13421 Southwest 178th Street, Miami, Florida 33177.
Thank you very much.
Also, I have the privilege to retire from the United States Postal Service. I'm helping my friend in here, and we represent a nonprofit organization, or few. As you know, nonprofit organizations, they help with what we call social problems. Nonprofit have established feeding the poor and do social different issues to help people that are less fortunate. And basically, last year, 2013, on December last year, we actually held an activity that we were able to feed 900 children, and we got pictures. I don't know who would like to see them over here. So in that activity, there were around 900 children and people that they were fed gifts and different issues in Christmas, because we have decided to do the difference. That's what basically nonprofit organizations, they do. Like I said, to help the community that they're less fortunate. So we are practically requesting for December the 17th of this year from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to hold the same activity, to do pretty much the same activity we did last year to help people during the time of December, you know, the holidays, Christmas time, and all that good stuff.
Is the event free and open to the public?
I beg your pardon, sir?
Is the event free and open to the public?
It's event, correct, it's free, it's non-chargeable, because we believe that it's a non-profit, we should not charge anything whatsoever, because the effect is to, like I said again, it's like a mission vision statement, to basically do the difference in the community, especially during the time that some people could not acquire gifts. They, you know, the issues, unfortunately, our GDP in the United States is 1%, and you know a lot of people, they have problems with the jobs and this and that. So basically, we want to influence people in the fact to create a situation that they will be happy and they will be with their family during that time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Shelley. And I attended this event when it was held at Harris Field a couple of years ago. and it was extremely successful, well organized, high energy. A great amount of people came out. So I feel very comfortable with supporting this because I was there to see firsthand the impact that it had on our community. And I'm grateful that you're bringing this back to the city of Homestead and allowing our city to serve as a backdrop for such wonderful event that you were able to masterfully put on. Kudos to you, and I look forward to it if it is approved tonight. Any additional questions or comments from council? Nope. Would anyone like to speak in support or in opposition? Nope. I'll close public comment. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Shelley? Yes. Councilman Williams? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you so much again for being patient. I know it took a long time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, next item, City Attorney.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing the purchase of furniture for the Homestead Police Department from Office Depot, Inc., pursuant to City Code Section 2-411.185, exemptions from competitive bidding, providing for an effective date.
Okay, staff report.
Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing city manager to purchase office furniture for the new police station from Office Depot, Inc., in accordance with State of Florida Contract 425-001-121 for a total amount not to exceed $180,462.36. Like the City Hall, PD is trying their best to utilize as much of the existing furniture as they have, and this is the fill-in furniture. And Colonel, I appreciate everyone's effort to try to economize here.
Any questions from council? No questions from council? I will open this up for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of this resolution? Would anyone like to speak in opposition? To close public comments, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Properly moved and second. Any final questions or comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Shelley? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, City Attorney.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, supporting the programs implemented by the City of Homestead Police Department to combat crime throughout the city and encouraging the continued expansion of those programs throughout the procurement of additional grants, funding and increased volunteerism, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date. This was the resolution that was requested by yourself and Councilman Williams at the last COW meeting.
Thank you. Questions from council? I would just like to thank Colonel Kennedy and the police department and our city attorneys for drafting this resolution. I think it's very important for the community to understand the role that we are playing in helping to curb crime in our communities, and me particular for the youth in our community. So this really clearly outlines all of the work and the elbow grease that we're putting into combating crime in this community. And I just continue to encourage our police department to be proactive in your approach to deter crime and put in preventative measures for our youth so that they don't fall victim to crime. And if I can just put you on the spot a little bit, for our Bigs in Blue program, so far we have 5 bigs that are willing to serve in the schools for their littles. I would like to see some more support with that, considering there is a great need at West Homestead K-8 Center for mentorship. So if you can shore up some more support for that, Colonel Kennedy, and include being a big yourself, I think that would be greatly appreciated. All right, let me turn on your mic.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. We fully plan on getting very involved in this program. We think it's going to be a very good program for the children of Homestead, the youth. The chief has asked that we just start it off with the 5, but there are other officers, including myself and many others, that are going to become involved in that. And we're really hoping, we have high hopes for this program to be a very large program with a lot of volunteers from the police department.
Is there a specific rationale for just starting off with 5?
The chief, we sat and discussed it during some meetings, and he wanted it to come through this community policing unit first. Let them be the founders of, as far as the initial process going in there, get their feet wet, and then they can somewhat come back and share exactly what the program consists of with the rest of the officers to encourage the other officers to become involved.
So
But
at what point will you decide whether or not you're going to continue to move forward with more officers?
I firmly believe that we will do that relatively quickly. I would say within the first week or 2 weeks, we should be able to open it up to additional officers. Again, I lend that for the chief to make that final decision. He's not here, but that's from our discussions, that's what we're looking at.
Okay, so I would like feedback on the progress of that program to come back to mayor and council and the community to let everyone know the successful implementation of the Bigs in Blue program. So we can have some quarterly updates on that. I think it'd be greatly appreciated.
We'll make sure we provide that to you.
Thank you. Councilman Williams?
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. And this is really one of the reasons why I want to do a resolution, for us to co-sponsor, because there are a lot of things that the city, through its many agencies, are doing to try to combat crime within the life of the city. And I think with what the attorneys have been able to put together, with a lot of your influence and polishing it up to really demonstrate some of the things that we are doing, and not that we have just been sitting back and allowing things to happen. The biggest problem that we have, I've noticed, is the source of information that's being not filtered to the community, unless there's some catastrophic thing that happens. When all the time we had these initiatives in place to combat, we just did not have a way of highlighting it. And so I think with this resolution that would do that, and it would keep us grounded. And I think it should be updated every year as new programs are added, new funding that is added, that it come back to us as, I don't know how that would work, but I think that would be helpful, and it would just continue for us to be engaged and raise the awareness of these things that we are doing that are proactive measures to address all of the crime and all of the things that our youth are challenged with. Not only our youth, but also domestic violence and all of that. And so I think that's gang prevention, all of that. It helps us to be more accountable and helps us to be more articulate when we're asking, what is the city of Homestead doing? We can, with strong communication and articulate, this is what we're doing, and this is the results of it. So I strongly thank you for your collaboration efforts on this resolution. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. This is open for public comment. Would anyone like to speak in support of the resolution? Mr. Willie Wamble.
Vice Mayor, I'm in support of the program. Any program
Wait, Mr.
that...
Wamble, your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
You guys know my name.
We
It's
know
Willie
you.
Wamble, 1111 Adams Avenue, Unit L. I'm in favor of any program that is for the benefit of our children in this community. I had the opportunity about 3 weeks ago to attend a meeting with some bigwigs and trying to come with a solution as it relates to curtailing violence in our community, which is being exacerbated by our youth. One of the things I mentioned was the fact that we have fewer and fewer programs geared towards our youngsters. And we need to go back to where we once were as a community when we only had about 25,000 residents. We had more activities for our kids then than we do now. For example, when I was growing up, I played football at Harris Field. There was four teams per weight category. And if you're talking about 3 weight categories, you're talking about at least 580 some odd kids participating in football. We were occupied from 6 o'clock in the evening or 5:30 in the evening to about 8 o'clock later in the evening with football. We had good mentors. And that has been erased now because now we have contracted out and we have traveling teams. Well, I think we have 2 teams. Well, that in itself is not encompassing all of the kids that we have that are in need of some organized activity. In addition to that, those traveling teams are very expensive. One parent told me that she had to pay $2,000 for her kid to play soccer. Well, that is good if that kid is a star player and you get to play throughout the state, throughout the nation. But if that kid is just learning, then he's going to learn how to be a very expensive occupant of a bench. So I hate to say that, but those traveling teams were meant for the all-star kids who were prepared to go on to the next level at high school to compete for scholarships. We want to be able to train all of our kids how to have fun, how to be involved in an organized activity, while at the same time, we want them to prepare themselves for adulthood. If we could go back to the good old days and make sure that our parks have organized activities for all of our kids, especially those who are in the beginning stages. Give them that opportunity so that we can have those kids participate in the middle school athletics as well as the high school athletics. Athletics in the high school, the numbers are down because the activities on the parks are down. So let's get back to where we once was in the good old days and make sure that we have activities for all of our kids. And any program that is geared towards the betterment of our kids should be supported. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wambo. Do we have anyone else in support of the resolution? Would anyone like to speak in opposition of the resolution? Nope. I'll close the public comments. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move it.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fairclough?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, City Attorney. This is our public comment period. Before I tee this off for public comment, let me just preface it by saying this. You know, as elected officials, this isn't a job for the faint at heart. We take hits all the time, and you have to be able to do so because we're up here in a tough spot. So I apologize if I upset anyone tonight because I am going to comply with the public comment process. What I would do is encourage you to come a little earlier. If you're really passionate about a topic and you want to speak on it, please come a little earlier so that you have the ability to have your 3 minutes to speak publicly. So again, I apologize if you're not able to speak tonight because you didn't meet that 5:30 p.m. cutoff. And with that, I will call you up in the order in which the comments cards were received. Mr. Pedro Gloria, are you here? Mr. Pedro Gloria. Not here? Okay, Jody Nerney and Janie Lutz. I know you're with the organization, so you can come up at this time. You have 3 minutes, okay? Thanks, Stephanie.
My name is Stephanie Garcia.
Hi, Stephanie.
I am the auxiliary president of the Veterans of Foreign War, Post 4127 here in Homestead. My address is 610 Northeast 13th Street, Homestead. Thank you very much for indulging me for the 3 minutes today, so I hope that I can wrap this up quickly. I'm here today to propose a partnership between the City of Miami and our Post. We want to raise awareness on the crisis that is veteran suicide and to provide tools for our community members to seek help, and to recognize the signs of emotional suffering that may lead to death by suicide. My son is handing out some pamphlets and a report that you can look at while I'm going through this. Ms. Lutz was not able to make it today, but she is the founder of an organization called Live to Tell. She is the mother of a deceased Marine. His death was as a result of suicide after he came back from his tours in Afghanistan. She did not want another service member to be left out and not to have the resources available that they need, because suicide is preventable. She founded this organization and created a wall that's about 70 feet long by about 4 feet tall. The wall is movable, so the last place that it was displayed was at Southcom. And the wall consists of pictures of servicemen and women who have died by suicide since their service time. I believe in the pamphlet that was handed out to you, he also handed you a bracelet. The bracelet has the web address of the organization, if you would like to look that up. The next thing that he handed out was the VA report, the Veterans Administration report. The former report from 2012 showed that there were 22 veteran suicides a day. I'm sure that you guys have heard 22 no more, things of that nature. The good news is the new report that's based on a 2014 study shows that that number is down to approximately 20 suicides a day. But it's tentative good news, because if you look around this room, there's probably 20 people sitting in the audience. That's 20 people every single day that take their lives, that die by suicide, and it is simply because they do not have the resources available to them. So you can, and there's 2 bullet points on that report that I wanted to point out. The second bullet point says veterans account for 18% of all deaths from suicide amongst U.S. adults. And then the third bullet point says, since 2001, U.S. adult civilian suicide increased 23%, while veteran suicide increased 32%. We are losing more veterans today than ever before. The number of veterans dying by suicide is almost surpassing the numbers that have died in actual combat. So the partnership that I am suggesting is that we display this wall here at City Hall. Veteran suicide is something that should concern all of us here today. We live in a military community. May I be indulged for another 2 minutes?
I apologize. I can't allow you to extend 2 minutes. A couple seconds, yes, because what I do for one, I have to do for all. Couple seconds.
That's fine. I understand. Councilman Williams pointed out that we have 65,000 citizens here in Homestead. How many of those are military personnel? How many of those are veterans? This is something that should concern the city of Homestead, so I'm hoping that you can partner with us. In addition to the wall, what we would like to do is place a table out there that would have our brochures. That's a mock-up that we handed out. It's a mock-up of brochures that also lists resources that are available and helps you identify the 5 signs of somebody suffering from mental illness.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
And we'll have someone to follow up with that. Thank you. Mr. Kevin Sullivan. I love the pink you're rocking. Real men wear pink.
October, remember?
Yes.
Okay. I'm here tonight once again. I brought up an issue back in September about the power outage that was caused by the city of Homestead. Not caused by a natural disaster, not caused by anything other than a simple mistake by the public utilities. Okay, I'll admit the public utilities came in and did the best they could do. Now, the city gets their insurance carrier involved. The insurance carrier looks at the items and puts ages and values on them. The people I'm speaking for are immigrants to this country. They came here from Cuba. They've learned the English, not great, but they've learned it. They went to school. They saved money. They bought a house. The American dream. Guess what? The city spilt a lot of rainwater on their dream. They told them that their appliances had some age on it, so they're only going to give them half the price. So how does people that have no money have to go out and get an appliance that works? Well, somebody gave them one of those little refrigerators that you use in a dorm. This is for a family of 5. They used that until they could save enough money to buy a new refrigerator. That is not right. We're as a city of Homestead just built over $50 million worth of new buildings. How much goodwill would it have done to treat immigrant people that came from a dictatorship who couldn't voice any concern about anything? If the utility did some damage to their house, they were lucky they could still live in the house. So I'm here tonight. If you can't do anything for my friends, at least you can get a policy in place. When it's something of this nature happens, we can address it and make these people whole. We're not talking about a lot of money. We're talking about $1,500. $50 million you've spent building buildings, but yet these people just found out that their wants don't really matter to the City of Homestead officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Just to staff, during the public comment process, because it's public comment, we don't go back and forth asking and answering questions, but I would suggest and encourage is for staff to take note of the public comments and, if possible, to follow up with some of the concerns that our constituents are having. Okay? Samantha Mitchell. Samantha Mitchell. Those are all of the public comment cards that I have received on time, and I would just like to thank all of you that are here and those of you that may be watching for your understanding as we comply with the public comment process. It's not easy to say, you can't speak because you weren't here on time. So I encourage you to come early, a day or two earlier, to be able to speak during public comment, but we have to enforce this policy. And again, my apologies if you didn't receive the time to speak or enough time to speak, okay? Business from the city manager? None at this time? Okay. City attorney's report?
None at this time.
Thank you. Reports of mayor and council. Councilman Burgess.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. During our budget process, we all sat up here and discussed one item that was on the budget, a possible New Year's Eve party. I went back and held, since I was the one that brought it up at the theater grand opening, I guess I became, quote unquote, the official chair or point of contact. So we had gone back and had a serious discussion with staff. And at this point, with the time constraints of where we are, with the things that are happening downtown of not having really proper parking, and the police station being done, we thought it would be best if we not proceed with that this year, but come back next year with something that will be extra special. So we're hoping in early January or February to come back with some sort of proposal and some ideas and see what everybody thinks about it. If everybody's in agreement, then we'll move forward. But we want to make sure that whatever we do down there is a class event, going to bring people down there and bring people down there for years to follow. So, this year we were going to be constrained to a half a show in my eyes, and I didn't feel that that's what we wanted to do or needed to do at this particular time. So, without any objection, I will continue this moving forward with anybody's help that wants to be part of it. We can notice whatever meetings there are and move forward. But for this year, the concerns were heard, looked at, thoroughly vetted, and that's where we're at with for now, unless somebody else has a different opinion. But staff's got a lot of pressure on them with the move of the police station, already having things planned, and then throwing another thing as big as this into the mix without them being prepared. Wouldn't be fair to anybody. It wouldn't be fair to us. It wouldn't be fair to the citizens, and it's not fair to staff. So, and without any objection, we will continue moving forward to plan a really big event for December, 2018, I guess it would be. So, well, no, 18, because we're not going to do 17.
16, 17, 17, 18.
Yeah.
So 2018.
So, any objections to that? And we will, of course, notice whoever on any and all meetings so that anybody can participate. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
the amount of resources, how much was that we had? 50?
Yeah, correct.
What happens to?
Well, it can be, that's what I would, Mr. Perez has to go back and look and see exactly what needs to be done, but, there's options to roll it over or just put it back in and start over again with the budget cycle next fall. That's what I hope to have, a little more detailed budget plan and expenses for things as we would come back later on and see what we are allowed to do and not allowed to do with the budget as far as that line item goes.
Thank you, Councilman Burgess, and
Okay.
count me
I
in.
got more things.
Sorry. No, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to
Okay.
say, thank you for being proactive with that and
Yep.
taking the lead on that, and I'd be very much willing to support you in the planning part of that.
Thank you. This weekend, we all received an email from our manager, Mr. Gretzis, but for 5 years now or more, I don't know, myself, Councilman Shelley, and whoever else have been banging their head into the wall with FDOT about a entrance ramp over on the east side of town, which would alleviate the crossing of traffic both ways to get on and off of the turnpike. And they've come to us with a drawing, and it's supposed to be a design build. And so there's a few things to do, but I just wanted to put up on the TV for citizens to see that Kingman will go straight into the turnpike, and a westbound lane will be dedicated for those that come from Waterstone, Malibu Bay, Oasis that way on Campbell Drive headed west. There will be a dedicated lane in front of the hotels that are there now, the Hampton Inn, the Marriott. They were gracious enough to give us some land that we needed to allow people to flow right in. And then, like I said, instead of having to do that left-hand turn and everybody making a left onto the northbound on-ramp now, the on-ramp will go straight across Kingman on land that's already there that the FDOT already owns, so it should move, we hope, rather quickly. They're saying, I think, 18 months, but we're hoping to push them a little quicker on that. So that is finally coming to life, and that'll be a big relief on our side of town for morning traffic. So happy to share that with our citizens. Thank you, Liz. Colonel Kennedy, as I do drive around, and I talked about the trucks earlier tonight, and I'd like to get, with staff and see what we can do there. But somehow we need to slow people down in this city, because I don't care if you're going 60 miles an hour down Kingman Road, somebody passes you. If you're going 40, people fly by you. And that road, and I'm just using that road as an example. It's all over. Mowry Drive, Campbell Drive, Speedway Boulevard, Chrome Avenue, wherever they can pass you, they pass you. I know that you go to certain other cities, since I can't say that other word, municipalities. They don't have that issue for some reason. And I know we're a little understaffed and we have many traffic accidents and we've only got so many traffic units, but what do we do to slow people down? I mean, I asked our traffic engineer, and he's supposed to get back to me about dropping the speed limit on certain roads and bringing them down to see if that'll help us. But we've got to do something to slow people down in this city because they drive, it's crazy. So I don't know, I mean, I'm not looking for the answer tonight, but I'm just voicing a concern. Turn this microphone on. I'm voicing a concern, as you drive around town, people are flying. And unfortunately, we're getting more and more crowded and more accidents are happening because of the speed, I believe, and the recklessness that goes with it.
We just, the shift changed the first part of October. We added an additional officer to the traffic unit. That gives us 6 officers that are permanently full-time assigned to the traffic unit. Is that enough to do it? No. We're looking at probably getting some more of our officers trained in radar detection to address the speeding issues, because I totally agree with you. There's no doubt. If you look at our statistics as far as accidents and within the city limits, they're astronomical. And it's not just astronomical above what's occurring other places in Dade County. Unfortunately, Dade County is a high volume of bad drivers. We're aware of that. We're addressing it through different issues and trying to promote, additional enforcement through our traffic unit to address some of these problems.
hopefully we can get, and like, when you go driving through Coral Gables, you better go the speed limit. When you go through Pinecrest, where soon-to-be Mayor Corradino is going to be, you better go the speed limit. So I hope that we can get that same mentality ingrained in people down here somehow. I mean, I know it's a long road and a lot of work, but somehow we've got to make our roads safer. And I think by getting the speed under control, that'll help us tremendously.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. That's all I have tonight.
Okay. Councilman Shelley.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just have three quick items. One is, I know I've spoken before, I've kind of been handed the torch on this Biscayne Everglades Greenway project. And so I've hit the ground running and started working on that over the last couple of months. And we had a meeting with the Florida Greenway and Trails Council. They came down here to City Hall. They had a chance, working in conjunction with Miami-Dade County Parks and Rec and the City of Homestead's Parks and Rec, we had a chance to pitch our ideas to them and let them know why our project was unique among all the trails that are being proposed and pitched in all of Florida. We've also successfully already received now, as a result of some of our advocacy, a grant of $328,825 to go from SunTrails to go toward the permitting and plans and everything for the Biscayne Everglades Greenway that was split between the City of Homestead and Miami-Dade County. But with those monies, we should be able to get the plans completed, and so then we'll have an official shovel-ready project will allow us to, again, continue our advocacy for bigger dollars. We've also already had meetings to put in place the plan that you guys approved at the last budget as far as the economic feasibility study to make our case through a third-party expert of why this project is unique. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that. Second item is the Homestead National Parks Trolley will kick off Thanksgiving weekend. It'll also make an appearance again at the NASCAR event that we have here every year. So we'll be able to take people that come, tourists and visitors, to our national parks and really be a true gateway city. As part of that, the Biscayne Island Boat Tours, which last year was kind of in its infancy, it was in a test phase, will go in full swing this year. It'll happen every single weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and possibly even Thursday, with multiple trips to Boca Chica. So people will be able to get on the Homestead National Parks trolley in downtown Homestead and go straight out to Biscayne National Park, get on a boat every single weekend now, and go to Boca Chica Keys. So anybody that's never had a chance to see that view, I encourage you to take the trip. Now there is a fee for the boat tour, but there is no fee for the National Parks trolley. The third item I wanted to bring up deals with what Mr. Sullivan raised. He's raised it a couple meetings. I know when he first raised it a few months ago, I did speak with the city manager's office. I do believe that for those types of incidences, assuming that our power company was in fact all at fault, I think it is unfair for us to only prorate the amount of reimbursement that we give them for damaged products, especially when you're dealing with staples of life, when you're dealing with refrigerators and freezers and things that took a while to build up and save and buy. I know it's potentially a bigger cost for the city if we institute a policy that replaces full replacement value, but I also think it's the only right and fair thing to do, because whether it's this immigrant family or any other family, regardless of their means, I still think it's unfair for the city to cause damage to property and then only partially replace that property, when had the city not taken the action or the city failed to take action to result in the damage, that person would have full use of that property for many more years and many more times to come. So I just think it's something that we should look into. That's my position and my opinion. I don't know how my fellow colleagues feel about it, but I did want to finally state something because it has been raised multiple times. Thank you.
We finished, Councilman? Finish, Olivers?
I'm all done, yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that, because I share those same sentiments in regards to the comments that you made tonight. I couldn't say that during public comment because there's no dialogue in public comment, but I share those sentiments. Thank you. Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you. I don't really have any comments, but I'll just comment off what Councilman Shelley had just mentioned, and I agree with that. I remember a few years ago, and even recently, there's a lot of businesses kind of more in your area, in the northwest section, that have been hurt by this, many times, from laundromats to computer systems. And I've seen it because one of my clients personally, for you guys who don't know, I do IT work, computer work, and I've had to replace systems for clients in the area because, it's been a power outage. I'm not sure how we determine who's at fault and how that works, but I'd be in favor to supporting something to them, those matters, because there are businesses here as well that have suffered because of the loss of property due to the electricity issues. So just to kind of put that. So I don't know how it's going to differ where we have families that are residents and then we have businesses that most of the time do not live here. So the manager wants to say something. Vice Mayor?
No.
The manager?
Oh, sorry.
His mic.
I was like, no, I didn't have anything. Go ahead.
We'd be happy to put together a report. My concern, obviously, is that the city is following standard practices of damages. And so if you have a 10-year-old car and you get into an accident and the car is totaled, they don't give you a new car. So the extent of changing this to something completely different, I don't know what the economic impact of it, but I have to assume it's significant. I know when you look at a specific case, Mr. Sullivan brings up something that breaks everyone's heart, and it makes total sense when you look at one case. But when you look at, on a daily basis, what happens with everything from slip and falls to car accidents to its standard insurance issues, and it's a big, big issue. So I would caution you all before we jump out and change this policy that we really take a look at it, because it could have significant financial impact.
Yeah. And take a look at it is the key word in my position would be take a look at it. And that's all. That's it for me.
Did you have a specific question regarding that?
Specifically to that, yes. Just out of curiosity, was there, for that particular issue, were the residents given some kind of reimbursement check so they did have the ability to go out and buy a new appliance? How did that work?
For the specifics of the case?
Good evening. No, I don't have the specifics, but we can certainly get that to everyone. They did receive a compensation from the insurance carrier. I don't have the amount right now, and I'm not familiar with the details.
Yeah, just be curious, because Mr. Sullivan did say that they had no money, but if we did some kind of something and they were able to replace some of those vital pieces of equipment, I tend to agree that we have to kind of be a little careful with this, although we should be doing the right thing as well. All right, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Williams.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. I received a letter in my office, I think received on the 24th of October. And it says, and this may be to staff, Dear Councilman Williams, our name is Samantha Mitchell and Leon Mitchell, the founders of KICS, which stands for Keeping Inner City Kids Safe. This group has been using the park called Bleakley Park at 600 Southwest 14th Avenue in Homestead for after-school sports activities for some time. The participants are children of various ages who live in Homestead in Florida City. KICS is an active group of children who also give back to the community. Example, visiting the elderly at nursing homes and singing as a form of entertainment. The residents also donate projects for the less fortunate, sponsored by their church. At this juncture, we have a concern due to upcoming changing in times. Fall is when you turn our clocks back, which means it gets darker earlier. The usual meeting time for KICS is between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. We also use and need to use the bathroom facilities at the park, but the doors are kept locked. We KICS are asking two things to help us continue to keep our kids safe. One, and there's a need for proper lighting at this park, and we're asking the city to install lamp posts for our safety. This would also keep the park a safer place in general. Two, also the bathroom issues. As we know, all children always need to go. There is no access to restrooms as they are kept locked. We understand that there are reasons for this, but we're hoping that they can be unlocked during certain hours. KICS plans also to attend the next City Council meeting on October 26th at 5 p.m. to represent and discuss our concerns. We thank you for your consideration for our needs. We're hoping that the JAG grant will help in this venture. Below you'll find our contact information. And we'd like to meet with your office in person. Hope that we can give us some time and date that will be suitable. Thank you, Samantha Mitchell and Leon Mitchell. So I'm not sure, you can have a copy of this letter, but what is generally the lighting situation, and this be for staff, as relates to that particular park?
I spoke with Ms. Samantha Mitchell prior to the meeting. She handed me the letter. It appears, I guess, they have been playing kickball on the side south of the Powell Gym, so not in the Blakey Park like we all know it, where the track is. So that's why she's mentioning with the lighting. But generally, the park is closed sundown and sunrise. The track does have some security lighting. I did recommend to her that I would reach out to her tomorrow. Roby George Park, we do have a ball field available there with lighting that doesn't get much use. That would be a potential alternate for her to play kickball.
Mm-hmm. And then the bathroom issue is
I explained to her the bathrooms are open while the staff is there in the park. So sometimes they go back and forth to Roby George and they do lock it because we do have issues with vandalism.
So you're saying that if nobody's there, what's the time that they're there then? I mean, how often are they?
During those hours is when we particularly staff the park, when the general public is using it.
Okay, so you're saying there's only one person that mans Roby George, and the same person goes back and forth from Roby George to Blakely?
Yeah, they'll go back and forth.
And so in these peak hours that they're talking about here, or hours that they list, there could be times that the bathrooms are not open depending upon what time the staff is there.
There could be time for a little bit of time when they go back and forth.
So how do we fix that issue? Because if somebody is using it and they're occupying it for such time, and our staff member has to go back, and there's not like a sign we put up saying we'll be back in 15 minutes.
You can do that.
No, I'm asking you. I'm just making a statement.
No, we do not have one, but we can do something like that.
Because it's so, okay. All right. Well, this is what I would ask then, is that you would bring back through Vice Mayor to the City Manager, to staff, that they would bring back a solution to this issue as relates to the bathrooms and staff moving from one park to another park, and because this deals with a quality of life issue at this point in time.
I'm just a little confused by your answer, though. Are the bathrooms open when the park is open?
Not at all times. Those restrooms, since the park has been open, we open it when staff is there.
Okay, so we'll come back to you with a solution.
Also, maybe Mr. Vice Mayor and maybe to finance to the City Manager, I thought at one point of time, through the Ministry of Alliance, they have the Hallelujah Night, and every year that's open to the community. And I thought at one point in time we had put them in a revolving cycle of $1,000 a year for that particular event for the Ministerial Alliance for Hallelujah Night. I thought we had conversations a couple of years ago about that. Could somebody update me? Or
Councilman, I can answer that. At last year's first budget hearing, after the budget hearing was over during the CAL meeting, you had brought up that there was a donation of $1,000 that you wanted to include for the, I think it's the South Aid Ministerial.
Hallelujah.
And I was directed to include that in the budget, but we didn't get any direction that that was going to be a recurring annual. And we did check the minutes, and we didn't see any direction of that. Currently, there's funding for that, but it wasn't set up as a separately earmarked amount for it to be an annual recurring sponsorship.
So if it's the will of the council, if that was your intent, we're happy to start doing that. If it's not your intent, then we'll do it on an annual basis. It's really your decision.
I knew that was my intent because they come every year. It's a positive program in the Southwest area, and it keeps kids off, in a positive environment, and it's open to the public.
Are there any objections to that being on part of the annual, as the regular? Okay, so Carlos will just include that as one of the ones that are regularly funded or proposed.
Noted. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you. I think that's all I have, Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to say congratulations and a great job to the staff who put on that Halloween extravaganza at Harris Field. It was great. We had a couple of malfunctions, I think, and we got those straightened out. I saw people in a different light. I saw a gorilla out there that came up to me and said, "Hey, my name is Pedro." It's like, great job, you guys. Gene Simmons was there. He had the wardrobe malfunction. He had his shoe fell off or something, or broke in the back, and was scrambling to get some glue for the poor guy. But great job. I was really excited to see that. I don't know how many people. There had to be over 1,000, 1,500 people showed up to this event. They were lined up all the way to Harris Field, which was really cool. So outstanding job by you guys, the city staff, and the city manager for allowing them to participate and put that event on for our citizens in the city. The Homestead Rock and Rib Fest was a success also. It seems like it was so long ago. It was actually the beginning of this month. We'll be giving the proceeds away at the next city council meeting as a presentation to the not-for-profits that were participating in that event that will receive that. And just want to remind everybody the air show's coming up the first weekend of November. And have a happy Halloween. Be safe out there. Don't take any candy from strangers.
Thank you, Councilman Roth. I just have a quick question to Mr. Stiles, Pastor Stiles, who's here regarding Hallelujah Night. Can you come up to the podium and just explain to us, because I would like to attend the event, but I don't have all the details. So if you can provide that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Representing South Day Minister Alliance, Vice Mayor. My address, you need my address?
Yes, please.
3106 Northeast 3rd Drive, Homestead, Florida, 33033. Hallelujah Night is, as we all know, is an event that we try to lower the crime rate within our community. It has been a perfect event for the last 15 years. Last year, we were honored to have it every even year in Homestead. This year, it goes an odd year, so it goes over, it goes an even year, so it goes over to Florida City. It'll be at the Florida City Park. The hours will be from 5:30 when we give out the first band, all the way to 8:30. It is an honor and a privilege this year that we partner up with our local businesses to actually do a trunk or treat. And that was nice that the car dealerships are providing the cars and helping us to absorb some cost in candy. The main thing is that the safety of the kids is at hand. So at 5:30 in Florida City Park, we will open up gates. Gates will open up. We will have vendors there giving away free, everything free. Everything's free. It's on the financial backs of us as a community and also our churches. And so it is a great honor to be able to be a chair of this event, as well as the support of my home, my residents, or my city, Homestead, which I represent, doing our part. And so we're asking that all of our councilmen come out and just show your face, tell them, you're here, and it will be in Florida City this year. Thank you.
Okay. So it's a trunk or treat type event this year.
It's a little,
I like that.
It's a trunk or treat type.
I really like that. In Florida City.
In Florida City.
Because I thought it was in Homestead. So that's
next year, what we're going to be coming up next year, it's going to be back in Homestead. So Homestead always does a excellent job. So we're going to ask that it be more of a safety type presentation next year with the fire truck, the Homestead Police Department, stuff like that. So every year it has a theme. It's not just going to be geared towards just candy, but a theme to be able to give resources to our community at the same time, too.
Thank you. Thank you for being so intentional
Thank
in
you.
your approach. Great, appreciate it. And just finally, I'd like to congratulate Joe Sirota, one of our own, as he will be recognized as a legal legend on November 3rd at an event. So I want to publicly congratulate him and the Weiss Sirota brand for the work that you do in our communities. Mayor Porter has two Housing Authority Board appointments tonight, Dalia Peña and Marilu Villa. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, and the ayes carry. Dalia Peña and Marilu Villa, welcome to the Homestead Housing Authority Board. Is there a motion to adjourn? Properly moved and second. Have a great night, everyone, and I thank you so much for your patience.